Good morning, guys. Mike warning. Guess I should say that first, with a quieter voice. Happy Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. Starting that halfway mark. I don't have anything funny to say, I guess. What's going on, guys? Alrighty. Couple things to note for today. Yesterday, the market continued its pullback, but we had quite the violent reversal. Powell, right? Fed Chairman Powell coming out saying the same thing as usual. Oh, we're not streaming. You guys didn't call me out on that one. Here you go. So Powell coming out for his testimony, saying really the same thing as always. Not really giving us anything new, but giving reassurances, not really touting any sort of negativity around some of the recent bond action due to inflation ideas, which, let's just be honest, we've been talking so much about reinflation being a good thing that for bond traders to react so negatively and poorly and have such a hard time trading in the bond market is quite ridiculous. We're going to go over bonds a little bit. For those of you that don't understand treasury yields and treasury yields and sort of the impact they have and why the dollar would increase because of that, or why the dollar being low might be good for different reasons, you can go Google that. This is not a course on treasury yields. So I'm going to point, we talk about them and how the flows get affected because of them, but again, I'm not going to spend 30 minutes going over that. So please, no questions. Just go Google. Talk to your peers. Let's first of all talk about futures. Futures, we're doing a lot better, and I see some of you even reacted. You're probably going back to that reactionary state of, ooh, look at futures, we're doing so well, and oh no, look at futures, we're not doing well. That's fine. That's fine. Now, what you would have seen about 10 minutes ago is that the Russell 2000 was at about 1%, up about 1% in futures. The rest were about 0.5% or a little bit less. Now it's about break even, with small caps still doing a little bit better, still getting some numbers. There's a few things to talk about leading into the day. So the Hang Seng, right? We've been talking so much about the Hang Seng index being really, Hong Kong really being a hub now in terms of volume and flows, and them being a little bit more tech oriented. It gives a good sort of contrast to Europe being more value oriented, so we can see the relationship between the two. Now they have this thing called a duty on their markets, where you pay basically a tax on all of your trades. It was previously, until today, 0.1%, and now it's 0.13%. And so what actually happened, as soon as the market opened, that basically went out to every single trading floor, and they had a bit of a panic attack because they had to start doing the calculation. So I haven't talked to anybody. I don't know anybody there, but it's in articles. They basically had a panic attack trying to figure out, okay, if we're going up three bips here, what are we going to be doing here in terms of models? How much money is that? What does that mean for future maybe increases in duties? Are we going to go from 0.13 now to 0.15 to 0.2? What does that mean in terms of policy? Are we going to start to... So again, these things start. So when we look at the Hang Seng in Asia, we need to look at it through that context as well, that there's a little bit of an event there. So when you see this 3%, take that into consideration. So we're not going to use this fully as an idea today. And I think it's important because usually we would look at that and say, oh shit, that's probably not good. That's quite the outflow. Now, there is one point, and I typed it into chat a little earlier. If you have an outflow in total from Asia, not just because of the duty thing, if you just have an outflow and it's because of an idea of rising inflation, yields increasing, that money has to go somewhere, right? If there's an outflow, there's an inflow. What are the inflows going to be? If you sell because of rising inflation, where would you put your money if you're trading on a reinflation idea? We've talked about it so much, we know exactly where money goes in terms of reinflation. Because if it's not going into treasuries and they're betting on that long-term rate, right, going to like a 10-year as opposed to maybe a 2-year, then they're going to be going into value. And that's exactly why we saw value doing so well at the start of the day, right, in terms of futures. Now, again, we're getting reaction at the open. It's fine. It's fine. We're talking about a long-term sort of path. We're going to be watching the flows this morning and seeing it open where some of that money starts to come in, and we're already sort of seeing it in the futures. That outflow is going to turn into an inflow somewhere else. So even though there's money, you could look at that red and say, wow, Asia probably had quite the significant outflow. That could also look bullish towards our market because that money could be coming into our market here, which again, that's really the way of things, right? And so let me just show you the treasuries over here. You can see the rate and the yield increasing over here, right? And so again, those of you that don't know much, you can tell the difference though in between these numbers and the increases here. And again, just supply and demand. So there's going to be some reactions today. There's going to be a lot of things going on with the dollar. So when we look at the dollar is getting a bump because of the yield increase, okay? The dollar is going to get a bump. It's by how much, and that will tell us exactly what we need to know in terms of those flows that we saw earlier. Because either Asia's putting all that money into treasuries, which again is doubtful. It's just doubtful. They're going to come over to equities. What will happen? This will start to come down. Yes, it's starting to protrude from where it is a little bit, right? As the market's getting going here, that volume comes in. It's all on this side. If we start to see a move, then that tells us everything we need to know, right? So we had that bit of a pivot yesterday, that bit of a reversal. Here's volatility, right? This is that spike where, let me show you on the daily. We talk about buying on fear. What did we do yesterday? We kept the cool. We were patient. And once the opportunities came, we pulled the trigger, right? We held a lot of positions in travel because, again, I'm just going to use the wind chart because it's a better example. We pushed our travel positions. We pushed our banks, energy, REITs, right? We pushed everything that was still climbing because it didn't get affected by the market. We, of course, got stopped out, had to sell some other positions. But during that market sort of turn, what did we do? Well, really hard to be buying at the exact moment where the market's tumbling, right? Pretty hard to go buy down here, right? And you're not going to probably do it on the market. You're not going to do it on the market average. But there were plenty of charts where we had the opportunity that this is the opportunity you have to take. If you take it 10 minutes later, the longer it takes, 10 minutes might be too long. Some of you want to do it today. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, we're going up now today. I can go buy it now. You're still missing the point of when you need to be entering and exiting. When you think about what's the spot, yeah, you can buy here and go push it. But it becomes very difficult to manage the trade if the market starts to push down a little bit and then you get stopped out. And then guess what? You no longer want to go make that trade, even though it might still be a good trade. There's too many things come in play. You need to always ask yourself, well, why not? Why didn't you already take the trade? Why not yesterday? Those of you that are looking at some of the charts and you're going, oh, yeah, that looks good. Why not yesterday when it was down 10% and now it's up? Again, there's plenty of charts where that's a bad choice. We don't buy on some of that shit. That's just crazy. There's plenty of charts that's just ridiculous. I'd say you're out of your mind. You're just gambling, right? But there's plenty of charts where, again, we talked about it all day. Right? And so you guys know what it is. Tesla, for instance, were we buying down here? Absolutely not. You'd be out of your mind. Does that mean you couldn't make money with a day trade? Absolutely not. You can take day trades all you want. You don't need to ask me to take a day trade. It comes down to your execution to make a day trade. All I can do is talk about direction, put some pretty little lines on a chart. That's about it. Not going to tell you, oh yeah, go buy the 319, 800, you'll be good. Sell them by 3 o'clock. None of that's going to happen here. So today, we're going to be watching for those flows. We want to see probably an equal amount to what we saw in Asia and also an equal amount to what we've seen in terms of outflow. Remember, this has been a consolidation we've been in. There hasn't really been that much of an outflow. The money's still here, but there is a lot of cash out there. We need to continue to see a trend build because if we're coming out of this, right, we've developed quite the long consolidation. It wasn't as quick. We do want to see some strength in terms of a trend, and we need to see direction. What are investors thinking in terms of where price can be next week, right? When we take these trades and push these trades, we need to see where specifically the money's going. So again, we continue to see money go into travel, into value. That's really the hot spot, but how much more goes into tech, right? How much more goes into tech? Because look at the liquidity. This is liquidity that's provided. How much money is actually going to flow here and take advantage of this? It's still it's on the back of everyone's mind, and really in the purview of really where you want to put your money right now. You don't want to put your money specifically here. We keep talking about it. What are we doing? We're been shorting the shit out of mega caps and tech for a while, right? For a while. So when we talk about biases, just because we were pivoting doesn't mean you get to all of a sudden change what the actual trajectory is. Look at this chart. If you are somebody that looks at this and says, ooh, discount, 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 you're not doing it right, because even though these charts look similar, you look at the charts and things seem similar, they're not anywhere close, because these are completely different trades. If you look at, for instance, Apple here, I straddled, took off the long leg, shorted. Again, this move from here to here is significant, right? This is a huge move, and I'm using Apple's example because it's the largest. You can't go buy long here. I've had people talk to me about this trade a few times now, where I go short and you guys want to go long. It doesn't actually make any sense. It doesn't even make sense, okay? Yes, you could have made a trade from way down here. How do you know where the bottom is? You're just buying. Yes, all of our charts look like this, so you can go make that trade. But no one here made the trade down here, right? You're making it up here, and it doesn't make sense. I talk about shorting it, and then you want to go long, okay? None of this really makes sense. You need to wait for consolidation. I talked about it yesterday. Some of you took what I said. I talked about from open being patient and waiting and looking for that consolidation and look for the breakouts, right? We bought on support in a few different areas. We bought on breakout of trends as price came back. There's different sectors where we knew the flow would actually protect us going into today if we took that trade. But some of you then at close were like, oh yeah, he said to buy, so I'm going to go make a dumb trade. No, you're making an excuse for your dumb trade. You're making an excuse for your dumb trade because why would we go long on the things that we are shorting? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. You can't just go short and then go long, or go long and then go short whenever you feel like it. Oh, red candle short, green candle go long. That's not how you don't get to do that, because you don't get to perfectly time every single candle. Trust me, every person has tried it. All of you have tried it, where you try to go long, and then as soon as it reverses, you try to go short, and you're trying to time it. There's no one here that hasn't tried to do that. Guess what? It doesn't work. You just can't do it. It's just not possible. And that's why we eliminate some of that timing error by going with swing trades, right? Going with swing trades that allow us to track a trend and try to do our best to give us the option to push a position further, and then understand when we need to be getting out of that because of a timing problem, right? Okay, well now I don't have enough time because my contracts expire, and so if I wait to try to rebound this 5%, well, it's not going to work, right? This is, again, if you look at this, is this bullish or bearish? This is bearish, right? It's bearish, right? If it increases, it increases, but it needs to consolidate this move. What do we talk about? Price needs to consolidate. It breaks out, consolidates, breaks out, breaks down, consolidates, breaks down, right? Some of these charts, yes, you could have bought, but some of them, when you look at the differences, right? I want you to look at the difference between the Russell, the S&P, and the NASDAQ. When we look at it through the ETF, take a look at the difference of the velocity at which these are all moving. Which one do you think has a better chance of going towards the upside? I mean, it's not even close. It's not even close, right? It's not even close. So, yes, tech might rebound and everything like that at some point. It may even be from this move in here, but it's not a good practice, right? It's not a good practice to be changing up all of the ideas just in a moment because you're like, oh, what about this opportunity though? Because guess what? You could do that all the way down. You could have done that on this candle. You could have been like, well, we're inside the support here, so I'm going to put this on at close today. You know what? I'm going to take this tight. I think this is going to bounce on support tomorrow. I'm going to take that trade. And then it gapped down 2%. You lost another 3%. And now you're paying the bank. Doesn't make sense. Okay. So, again, when we talk about buying on fear and everything, there's a point at which you can do that, and then a point where you need to just stay on the sideline and be patient, right? Which is what yesterday was really about. There's plenty of things that we sort of signaled. The idea of pot stocks today, and again, disclaimer: I did take some of the trades yesterday, but not full positions, because how confident I am, how confident am I that this is actually going to break out and reverse? Well, just beyond the fact that I knew, let me show you CGC, I got the lines. Just beyond the fact that I knew that this was going to pop out because of just the way that charts work, that on a daily it's going to have to pop out here, that okay, I'm going to get some sort of break. So a small amount of confidence because of that. How confident am I, or how secure do I feel that there's going to be buyers here? Not enough to go put a significant position on. So just a small position, right? When you think about sizing, well, what's my level of confidence here? How well can I execute this trade? What's the worst case scenario here? That if I take this trade now, a lot of those things lead to you need to wait for the next day, right? Sometimes you can get the preemptive trade. And again, that's because I'm going to just draw it real quick. We've got 12 minutes. I was thinking about the way to sort of talk to you guys about some different things, because sometimes it's hard for us to explain everything. Let me just put it right here. So here's price, right? And you want to capture price. Okay? Let's talk a little bit about where and when you can buy, right? Let's say this is, let me read you, what a terrible, absolutely terrible. That's not what I want. Okay. There we go. All right. When we talk about where you can buy and where you can sell, right? And how we do this with support and resistance, right? Well, the perfect chance would be to buy it right here on each pivot, right? Buy, sell, go long, go short, whatever it is, right? It's never that perfect, right? Unless we have support and resistances there that we are so confident in with that as soon as price is coming down in here, we're already putting the bid order in to go buy it, right? But how many of you here have had the confidence that we've got a support here and we've got a resistance here, and that you sell right on that? What are these new colors? What the heck? TradingView. Guys, TradingView changing this shit is ridiculous. Get out of here. What is that? Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Anyway. Absolutely terrible. Anyway. They're getting another dirty email. Anyway. We've got a support down here, right? How many of you are actually putting your limit buy down there before price has even reached it, right? Very little times where any of you here are really doing that. And even myself, it just never really lines up in such a way that I'll have the order there, but I'm not unpausing it until I see it actually start to move, right? Where is, in terms of risk reward for all of us, the best time to be buying and selling? You can never, let's say these are not real levels, right? Act like this is not support and resistance. Price is just in the middle of nowhere, right? You don't know when this is going to turn until you start to see the tightening, right? You see price moving down, you see it tightening, and so then you're going, okay, price is tightening, looks like it could go to the upside. But you don't know if it could just be price going down, it moves up a little bit and then goes back down, right? You're not for sure. So, okay, well, now you have to remove some of your idea of possibly buying there. Maybe you wait a little bit further, right? And so now you don't know for sure that this is going to go further to the upside. So you're still waiting, and then you go, oh, there's a point for all of you where you get enough confidence to go buy. Some of you can do it a lot quicker because you're confident that you can get out of that position in time. Some of you need to see a lot of price movement before you feel confident that, okay, it is heading towards the upside, right? Same with on the sell side. You don't know when this is going to start to reverse. This could start to reverse and then go further to the upside here. So there's a point at which you go, oh, okay, this is actually going down. This is actually going down. All of you know what your limit is in terms of where you make these decisions. And so when you're already looking at this, you need to already be thinking about the other side of where exactly you would be getting out of that position, right? Because if price just decides to move up a little bit and then starts to move back down, you need to know that somewhere in there relative to you, you need to be getting out of that position before you're losing money, right? To make the most amount of money on these kind of trades, right? You're going to have to be buying somewhere in here most of the time or to make the perfect amount, right? There's going to be times where you're buying over here and you're selling over here. You're buying early and selling early. There's times where you're just going to have to do it. You want to make profit, you need to be taking advantage of the times when you can be buying a little early when price is going down, right? And times before price even starts to sell. You're going to have to get out of it before it even starts to sell. How you figure out how to do that really comes down to how much you look at charts, how much you're prepared. Because again, you don't know when this is going to start to sell, and it could be a situation where it's more like this, and you just can't get out of it. You can never perfectly do it. So there's going to be a point where you got to get out of that position. A lot of the times this comes into the transition idea where we have levels on our chart. And so again, this would be someone that doesn't have support and resistance to help them guide them through a trade. That helps us keep us sort of at a point where we're just sort of min-maxing everything and we're not pushing anything too far. We're not buying anything too early, but it gives us a little bit of an opportunity to, yes, we're coming into support. We put the order on and we're going to get in to go catch it, because you wait into here, sometimes it's too late, right? It's too late to buy it. And you saw how quick it was yesterday, that whip. It's too late to go buy it even 2 minutes later, right? So you're going to have to buy it early when it's going down, because you know what the price is here? The price here could be $1 and equal to that where it is. Equal to where this is here. Jesus Christ. Equal to where price is here and here. Price here could be $1, but price here could be $5. Could be $3. But it's going to be more than it was here because price was moving down. Price was moving towards the downside. So of course the price here is lower than it was over here. There's going to be times when you have to take the trade over here. And there's going to be times you just can't take the trade there. And same with selling. Sometimes you got to sell before the move happens. And so the sweet spot is again to be buying on this side of the tail and to be selling on this side before this. Even though our rules want to be having that perfection and looking for things, there's times when you got to be making that trade. So I'm going to delete stupid comments like that. All right. Let's bring it back. Yeah, I don't know why TradingView changed up. That's a weird thing to change here today. I mean, that's not my saved resistance color, right? Maybe it is, and they just changed up. Yeah, it is my saved colors, but it does look different, right? It does look different. Very, very weird. Very weird. Oh, I guess it is. It's just, it looks a little different in terms of like, it's opaque or something. Okay, either way. All right, so in terms of pre-market and individual ticker, that's just something I want to talk about a little bit because again, there is a point where you got to be preempting a move and buying when price is going down a little bit and then selling while it's going up, right? That really is a sweet spot, and we try to get enough information to make those decisions, right? We try to get enough information to make those decisions, and you're not always going to be able to do it, right? But it's the times, it only takes one, right? It only takes one. Pre-market action, Upwork was earnings related. In terms of others up here, there's nothing really to note. Some of the energy ideas in terms of EVs and solar coming with a bounce back today, which is a little bit silly to be like, oh, I mean, who could have saw that coming? Of course, we saw these ideas coming, and it's not really a secret. We're looking for Ford, of course, trades like this on the EV side, not specifically Tesla or NIO, maybe more towards NIO than Tesla if there's chances. But not really specifically today. We do need to see consolidations. This doesn't need to consolidate. It's already within consolidation, right? So it's the trades, it's the charts that we need to see a consolidation happen from a large downward move, not the charts that are already consolidating. These are we're looking for the break trades, right? We're looking for that breakout trade. Trades like if you're trying to enter trades that we've already sort of, that we've already sort of traded, right? So entering down here, transitioning, and then buying on the pullback today. Since I prompted the question, like, why haven't you entered travel to like the group? Because I was just curious, like, what is the reason why you didn't enter here? You didn't enter on the pullback. Like yesterday, we talk about the pullback opportunities on charts that are bullish. You took profit, and then you have a new chance to go enter, right? It doesn't need to be perfect timing, but these type of trades here, where now you want to go buy up here, it needs to be with, in conjunction, a level that you can feel confident would support. So for instance, AAL up here, it's like 21 and 21.10 or something. You need price to be on top of that level, maybe confirm it before you can take a new trade, right? Before you take a new trade, if you didn't enter somewhere in here. And again, I would just prompt yourself, why didn't you enter down here today? Oh my God, TradingView, please. Okay. You had over an 11% pullback from the high of yesterday, the 2 days ago. Why didn't you enter on that pullback if you're going to enter today? There's about 50 charts like this. I can give an example. Not specifically the ones that have been trending. These charts, if you're trying to go enter these charts now, like you want to go buy MGM, okay, why not yesterday? Why not the day before? These questions, they matter. And if you're trying to force these trades, there's a reason. You lost money, and now you want to make it back on a trade that other people are making money. There's something there that you need to discover yourself of why now you're trying to make that trade. Macy's over here. Why not the pullback? You didn't take it here. You didn't take it on the pullback. And if it jumps off the page today, and then you buy it 10 minutes later, right? The cruise ships again. Why not yesterday? Why not back here? Why not over here and then transition? There's a lot of different questions that you need to figure out again before you start trading, because again, they do mean something. There's something there that you get a 12% pullback and you're not buying that pullback as it starts to head back to the upside when it's market related, not ticker related or chart related to that symbol. It's the market. And we know these charts have their own velocity, and if you're not able to do that, then again, there is something there that is beyond the chart, because everyone else can make the trade. If it's personal to you, then you need to find out what that is, because that's going to hold you back. It's going to hold you back, and you're going to make shit decisions where you're revenge trading and doing God knows what. So let's get this going. Again, no one should be surprised about anything. I don't even need to put anything here. Let me do this. No surprised emojis today. But yeah, what the hell, TradingView? Honestly, unneeded. Did they change like something else that like actually helps, or they just literally just changing shit for no reason? Like if there was a real reason, did they finally add the group thing I talked about? They finally added that group thing where you can control click box and then change all the colors of something. I like that. That's helpful. Takes me 2 seconds to change all the colors on my chart. But I don't know what that new UI is. Okay, starting bid. So that's the SPY. Again, opening a little bit lower. Here's value. Again, if you're doing a surprise face right now, get out of here. What do you want me to speak in your language? Yep, F. Go, we're watching, we're looking for bid. All you need to do is see that bid, go, hit the button, make a trade, put a stop, make a trade, right? That's it. You don't need to be right. All you just need to be is not wrong enough to blow up your fucking account. All you need to do is when you hit the buy button, put a stop underneath. You're not going to get hurt. Promise you. It's not going to jump your stop. Those of you that remember when you started trading and you would tell all your friends, no, it jumped over my stop and I didn't get stopped out. Remember when you used to lie? Yeah. Not today. Not anymore. No, trust me. Trust me, Greg. It jumped over my stop and I didn't get stopped out. Okay. Got it. That's how it works, right? All right. We're up. We're up pretty big here. This is the forward chart. Now, we're looking for direction. It's some sort of trend line in here. We don't know specifically, so we're going to need to see intraday what the reaction is, because we have a couple different wicks in here. I've just averaged it, right? I have it averaged somewhere in here, right? Somewhere in here, average between these, that it's going to get, we'll see it, and it's going to blow through it, right? It's either going to, you're going to see some sort of level of supply that we have to work through. You'll see it in the bid and ask, right? We'll see it in the bid and ask. And it could happen earlier, right? Because it could be that different trend. It could be that more shallow trend, not from further back, right? So we're looking for that. Again, we're all value, all value. AAL did start to make that move. So again, those of you that were looking further, yeah, again, it's up a shit ton, but it's, again, even if something's up a lot, it's not about the percent, it's about that movement, right? Let me bring it back over to here. Okay, here's the IWM. So Russell 2000, again, it was up a lot higher in pre-market. You got to make sure when you're watching those I would say for almost all of you here, you should not even be watching futures during pre-market. All of you, it's really not healthy for you. You look at futures last night, and then you look at them in the morning, and then you start to look at the day. A lot of the times, all that's happening to you is you're like getting different reactions to each time you look at it. Like, oh, we're down 1%. Oh, now we're up 1%. You change your tone every single time, when it should not be like that. Like, if you don't need to, if it doesn't affect you, right, because you've been doing it long enough, or you know you're using it for real reasons, then that's fine. But a lot of you fucking type into chat, oh, we're down, oh, we're up, and you don't have any fucking clue. You just got no clue, right? So again, it's just not healthy, and it will stop you from being able to make a trade. It'll stop you from making trades. X continues, trend lines again, watching them. Again, all value. So there's nothing I say more than the word value. Everyone's favorite V word, better than the other V word. Value all the time. Open, we're looking for more levels to be broken up here, right? More levels to be broken up here before you go hunting. Now, there was opportunities yesterday, of course, on a lot of these charts. Again, these are really they come down to you. They come down to you. Where's the point at where you have maximum sort of confidence to go make a big trade? Maybe you need to make multiple trades. Let me do it quickly. Ecto's asking, what's that trend line? I did post a new chart. And for those of you at home, maybe I should show you real quick. Let me tell you something. Everyone's at home, but you know what I mean. Real quick. Okay, here we go. Those of you at home that don't know what goes on in this Discord, here we are in the pit. Not many people here yet. You come in here. This is where you pay me. Click either of those, pay me my $80. Come into here. Here's the trading floor. This is where you're going to get all your fun alerts. This is where everyone talks all day, memes about what's going on. But it's serious. We try to get shit done to make money. In here, the Unrefusables channel. This is where you're going to get all the important charts, information, short-term patterns. I post big lists. Spend all night typing these carpal tunnel out of my ass. Over here, you get all your charts, right? Got a couple firm handshakes in here. In terms of charts, again, you get all the charts in here. I posted on a list. Again, you can go get this on the Google Sheet. So those of you that don't know where the Google Sheet is, you can click this pinned messages. The link's right there. And then again, there's some commentary in here. Questions tab. This is where you should be asking questions and not on the trading floor when other people are trying to trade. Bullshit. This is where you keep your dumbass memes, like whatever this is here. This is a great meme. It's dumb enough that it's perfect. Profit. This is where you go and show everyone your winnings and losses. And we keep it pretty simple. You lose, throw it in the chat. You win, throw it in the chat, and it's a good way to develop understanding. Cosa Nostra. This is the Unrefusables account. The fund. Right now, we don't have very good direction. We're a little behind. Right now, this is the account. We're at 22.42. We didn't place a trade today. We have our own accounts to worry about. Pit VODs. This is where if you miss a pit session, you can come over here and watch what happened. There's a recording. You get nice quality. I post cute little emojis on the thumbnail to make you feel good. Over here, you've got some more education. This is every single chart I'm ever going to post. You're going to get some information about it. Click the PDF, learn about it. A couple jokes hidden in there. Those are the classic patterns, short-term patterns. You get no idea what the hell these are? Go read about it. Indicators, you don't know how to use a certain indicator, an oscillator. You want to know something about RSI and why I don't give a shit? Go read about why I don't and why I only use it for analysis. There you go. That's what it is, boys. That's what it is. And now bringing it back to what matters. There it is. And again, this is the streaming computer. We are on the streaming computer. There you go, guys. That was the intro. Or the breakdown. Okay. Again, tech showing us exactly what we expect, right? Tech showing us exactly what we expect here. Exactly what we expect in relation to value. Value up. Yeah, this is a sell candle in here. It's not down here, though. It's not down there. Death boat. Again, these moves, are they surprises? Anyone surprising in here? Chewy's a good mention. I think you mentioned it last night. I didn't talk about it. This move back into here yesterday is really interesting. This trend line matters. Oh my God, guys! How do I extend my line? I don't even have the button up here. This is ridiculous. This is actually ridiculous. Now I have to do it through this thing? That's so stupid. Where are my shortcuts? Am I losing my mind? Is there like they must have changed it. They must have changed it. I got this favorite bar. This is stupid. Anyway, you need this trend line to be broken on the Chewy chart. And when you do, you're kind of breaking out of this. It's really interesting to think about the way that this, you have to, when I talk about removing wicks and candles from your idea of what's going on, any of these charts that were trading on their own sort of pattern and path and had their own velocity, you need to remove when the market fucks with the price. This here, almost everything yesterday got affected by it, right? Just like a November 9th candle, right? Where's the November 9th candle? Wonder if you can find it on any chart, right? That's when the market fucks with price, and you have to remove it. So if you remove some of this here, right? Maybe just get the body of the candle, and you start to then diagnose exactly what's going on in there. You're going to get a better understanding that it's okay. It's not, this isn't a dollar. You couldn't even put this in a dollar value, right? It's not that there was a whole outflow in here and then a whole new inflow. No, you just got to remove some of the lower wicks. Chewy chart still looks good. So again, a lot of these charts, they still look good. It just, when you think about some of these, it can be a little, distraughting when you look at some of the prices and you're like, well, shit, that must completely wipe out any ideas here. A lot of the times it's not. Again, all value, guys. That should be value focused. So you're trying to make trades that are tied to something else, then you're on your own. Literally. Because the market doesn't want that. REITs continue to look very good. Bring you over to some different ideas. We talked about banks, right? Look at banks continue, right? You tell me what you see, right? Energy. Let's take a look at energy. Let's talk a little bit energy. What do you think? What do you see, right? It's too much, guys. Too much where you're trying to force something else when something else is in front of you, right? Even if you don't trust me or not, you can't deny when I show you something. Because if you are, then you're just making stories and not seeing what's right in front of you. You're making some fundamental dumbass decisions. Like I asked, I'm not shitting on some of the answers last night about why not entering travel, but I want to show you how it's inconsistent. If you didn't enter travel, let's look at Ecto's ET. Again, pushing this trade. We talked about it yesterday. This bounce, let me change the colors here. Let's see if we can do it. Nice. Look, what are those shit green colors? God damn it. Anyway, when we talked about it yesterday, that pullback into here, again, you gotta stick with what you know about the chart, right? You gotta feel confident about what you see. I specifically talked about this chart yesterday, right? But anyway, in terms of travel, again, great trade up here. Don, can I go buy this right now? I don't care what you do. Just feel confident with yourself. Anyway, travel. I asked, why didn't you enter travel at all over the last time? A lot of people haven't. A lot of people have. If you have a fundamental reason why you don't enter travel, right, which is fine. But if your reason for not entering something like airlines, cruise ships, is because, well, I don't feel comfortable traveling right now. I don't think it's good for people who are traveling. You're going to have a very hard time making money because a lot of the shit we make money on is pretty sleazy and ridiculous, right? It's usually not for the betterment of people. If you think all of us here making significant amount of money while other people are poor, right, and you think that's good overall, you're out of your mind. Me making more money is not good for the overall public. You making more money is not good for the overall public, right? It has nothing to do with a fundamental idea here. Just look at the goddamn cruise ships. Who knows when they're going to be, if you tell yourself, well, I'm not going to buy it because people are not going on cruises, and that would be bad. Where's the point? You're going to at some point go, you know what? I'm going to go buy it now, and then that's probably the top, and you lose all your money. So you're going to make a fundamental reason why you sell it. Is what you're going to enter it, and you're going to say, you know what, I was wrong about that. Or you're not even going to say you were wrong. You're just going to be like, you know what, okay, it's fine. I'll go buy it. You can't change up your mind every 2 seconds about why and you're going to buy something or not. Consistent. GE continues. NBR, oof. All those drilling and sector and everything else. Again, airlines, ALK was the other airline we put in there. Again, a little bit lower volume, a little bit harder for a lot of you in here to go trade this, but again, these moves again in travel, usually the excuse is pretty silly, right? You guys know. The excuse is usually pretty silly. Hey guys, your AM, remember? I put that on your short-term patterns last night. Does anyone see that one? It looks like some fun. Possibilities there. Let's see if we can get a good color in here. This is disgusting. I'm going to sue TradingView for my screwing with my colors. NCLX continues. Again, if you guys didn't know, I posted a big weekly chart which also carries over to the entire travel sector together, and I made that clear because it's important to understand that it's not just this chart, but since I didn't have a chart on it, I posted on this one. I put a big boy target, 100% out of 100% on NCLX, which is for, again, all travel charts. All travel charts. There you go. You guys would have been doing great on your position. Too bad you guys sold it. Didn't re-enter. You get stopped out, you rebuy, right? You get stopped out, you rebuy. You get stopped out fucking over here or something, right? You could have bought down here. Oh, baby, those are, what are those? Those are like 150% right now. Oh, God. Over 100% at least. You bought down here, 100%. You guys want to buy it now? Of course you want to buy it now. It's up 6%. Now you feel like, oh, yeah, it's going up. We can go buy it. You guys are out of your mind. Absolutely out of your mind. Go buy it right now. 94% more to go. Completely fine, guys. Yeah, no problem. Timing does not matter. Who cares? Oh, God. I don't really have any trades to make because I've already made my trades. Really wish I got a part of that travel move. Really wish I didn't waste all my money on. I don't have any good, funny trades to mention. All of them are just continuing to trend down, right? Even Tesla is still trending downwards. We didn't really get a reaction in this supply, so I'm going to remove that. Which is what I said earlier, right? That was very local. Yep, let's see. We got STC being mentioned. Obviously mentioned it yesterday, the day before. We always talk about this idea. And where is the entry point? Well, support, resistance breaks. So you've already got about 3 different opportunities today on this chart. And you're looking at some sort of, let's see if we can, some sort of break, right? And that basically came in here. So what's the probability? It's heading this way. It's heading towards this way, right? You get a lot more chances that it's going up than down, right? Because of the levels. That's why we sort of just take this trade every time it's in front of our face, right? Marriott, trend line, right? Talked about it yesterday. Again, this trade, I had to delete some drawings, but we again had this. I had the line drawn right here. You missed this kind of move, again, just because you're just not looking at it. You're just not looking at it. Hey man, can I go enter it now? I mean, yeah, you could have entered on the trend line today, like JGR mentioned, or now you can wait for it to pull back in, and it's gonna take a few days. Might take a few days for it to pull back into support. Who knows? You're in a channel now. It's a lot stronger in this channel. Yeah, it's already made about 16.5%, but how much is that on contracts? Probably quite a bit if you go look. A little bit more marginal on this trade. F, coming into the trend line, important there. Very important because now we're going to get, again, we've talked so much about convergence in sectors. If we're classifying F, GM is included, into EVs now, what's the convergence going to be in that sector as a whole? This has been consolidating a lot better than some of the other charts, right? Been doing a lot better. Look how nasty this is over here. But it's, you can tell that there's some ideas in here. But, you go look at Tesla getting absolutely bonkered, right? These kind of things. Which one do you want to go trade right now? There's no way you can tell me that some of those other trades are better than that one, right? When you look at some of them. Okay, someone called for a vote. I'm going to call it in there. Any ideas I see in chat are going in, since I have the time. And then you need to specify, folks. I'm just going to type the ticker. You need to specify. No vote, no vote. Okay. What about on other tickers? You guys do it. You guys do it. I'll give you the fucking command. You guys know how to type the poll thing, right? I'm going to give you the command. You guys go into the voting thing. Someone wants to call a vote, go to the voting thing. Question mark poll. Type in whatever dollar amount we have, 2242, quotation, and then put all the different options in quotations. I'll type the format in there, and I'm going to give you guys the channel. You guys have it. It's all you. Because it's going to be API'd, and you guys are going to fucking do it anyway. I'm not going to spend time doing this. Here you go. All yours, boys. All yours. Okay, you guys should be able to type in the voting thing now. Again, here's the command. I'm gonna type it out. Looks like that. That first one's what goes in the question thing. The other ones are the answers that you click on. Good job. Good luck. Yep. So I posted V and MasterCard charts yesterday, but big boy charts, again, long terms. It's important to realize that when I post something long term like this, I'm literally mean over a long time period. But this is more on the investor side, that there's going to be long term positions put on, right? So you can get moves, but I'm not talking that there's going to be a big move right now. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. When I do charts, I don't like to do charts like this anymore, because it's over such a long period of time that it doesn't really allow us to trade. We trade, we don't invest, right? But again, it's important, I think, to know when something like this happens, and that's why I posted them. It's something to keep in mind, that institutions look at things in this sort of way, right? When they look at a chart, this would be the obvious. They don't look at the short-term charts. They look at a chart like this, and they'd say, you know what? That's something we're going to take into consideration here. Not the 10-day chart that we trade on, right? But the levels that we trade on. They look at it in this long-term view, through the fundamental idea, through how do we even get a goddamn position into that, those sort of ideas. But it's important to know that where these levels are and everything else. So that's why it's on there. Interesting price movement to start here, right? Wide spreads, trending towards the upside. Wide spreads, not trending, flat, rotation. If this is trending down, a little bit further down, rotation into value, right? Those wide spreads, rotation into value. Again, this move, boom, boom. That's what you look for. See if you get that bounce, or if it just does it here, well, then there you go. I mean, it's on the daily, obviously, it's right there. And again, if you weren't a part of that trade and then it breaks back down through the trend line, well, that's because that was the move. Now it needs to consolidate, right? At some point, you need to say, okay, got to get out of this trade, just like we do on transition ideas. If there's a reason to transition, you're really looking for any reason to realize your profit, right? Trend line, take profit, re-enter. Oh, broke through the trend line. Well, better get out of the position, right? Win. Okay, we're coming up towards the resistance here. Like I mentioned, there is someone else mentioned the level in here. You got a bit of a zone in between, right? You got a bit of a zone in between. If it's going to consolidate, shows a reversal, okay, you're out. You're done. See ya. Realize the gain. Be happy with it. Be happy with the trade you made and that you followed some rules. It's never going to be perfect. You know that price needs to break out, consolidate. Is this a consolidation? Not yet. You can't determine that. You need more information, right? Need more information. Just like you need more information to buy a lot of times. Looking for this pot stock move, again, something like this trade, it's not going to happen immediately, right? Retail is not looking at the chart and saying, oh, you know what? I can certainly see these trend lines, and that now that I'm popping out, I no longer have a resistance on top of me. Now, you know what? Demand is going to certainly push the price up here. It's going to take them a minute, right? It's going to take everyone a little bit of time to get the momentum going, if this is accurate. So in terms of confirming this idea, I'm going to give it a day, probably 2 days, right? Before I rule out, just because of the variance of people just not even noticing. You look at this chart in the dark. Oh, it looks pretty bad to me. looks like shit. Half the time I tell you this chart looks terrible. It's super bearish, absolutely. Very bearish. Chart's very bearish. But again, preempting, understanding. F is right there. This trend line that I have on the average comes in at about 1194. Again, 12 is probably a mark that's going to matter. I hate these lines, guys. I absolutely hate the lines. It's actually pissed me off a little bit. On my monitor, it looks terrible. Can I use this one? No. Where is my colors? Like, honestly, where are my colors? Don't know. But $12 is going to matter, of course. In terms of the candle today on tech and everything else, right? If the candle stayed like this, then I would say that's overall good for the end. Like if we're talking about bullish cases, the candle like this would be pretty bullish for come the end of the week. I would say you get a bit of an inside bar like this, tightening. The tightening is what matters because you need to. When I talk about consolidation, that's really just price tightening from a large spread in a trend, bouncing between channels into tightening of price to make a move. I would say that's pretty good. So, in terms of holding value and everything else, that would be pretty good. In terms of this day, you do need to see this kind of thing. You're going to come test this trend line, right? You're going to come test the trend line, more than likely. There's not really any way around this chart not gravitating to supply because again, small caps they're prone to moving a lot more, right? They're just prone, which is why we sort of use that chart for some understanding. If you look at like the Dow, right? This and there's a reason why I don't bring up the Dow chart because it doesn't help us with anything at all. Look at this chart. Does this helping you with anything? No. It's fucking disgusting and stupid to look at, right? When this is the true value. This is like true value, but it does not help at all, right? Yeah, there's a trend. It doesn't help. So there's a reason why we don't really use this chart because again, you can't go day to day and understand something in terms of trading. All it is an overall macro idea, which you can certainly see, right? And we talk about this idea of value continuing to trend, but you just can't see it day to day on this chart. So we use that IWM small cap. But again, you get this tight. I mean, it's not absolutely terrible. So Amazon back down to the support here. Again, we're not taking mega cap trades down here. We took it up here. We're not taking it down here, right? This is where some of you are gonna go, well, you said if you're a buyer up here, then why aren't you a buyer down here? Again, if you don't understand the difference between some of these different things, then I don't know what to tell you. But you're a buyer up there. Why aren't you a buyer down here, Don? Ho, ho, ho. Got him. You guys are good. What about Snap from yesterday? Continuing. Something to... Okay, I guess there is no lines on this chart. Sweet. In terms of this chart, we talk a lot about these ideas of clear breakout candles. It then just comes down to, in terms of this breakout, what's the move going to be? You'd have to imagine you're going to get some sort of consolidation like this, so you can't be buying here today. It's very hard to go buy this today after this move here yesterday, right? And you got to think about these things in context, where some of you will look at a candle like this and then say, okay, now it looks good, now I can go buy it. Again, you got to be mindful of what exactly price does, right? Right now, price has been making its move almost instantly, right? It gets to where it wants to go instantly, and then it consolidates. So the breakout's no longer on a trend or even a capturable rally if you don't get there immediately, right? This, the market looks decent here, decent. Let's bring it back to the macros. Again, individual positions we already understand. Dollar still just having that rising level from the yields, right? I'll jump over the yields in a second. You look at volatility, it's staying elevated above here, but within the range, right? Within range. So again, we don't have a signal of movement here in terms of, okay, there's more selling. Again, it's only correlated to the downside at this point. And there's times of clear volatility. This would not be one of them, right? This would not be one of them. Bring it over here. Take a look at treasuries. Again, look at the short term. Look at the short term. Why does this percent go up? In terms of supply and demand, you should know these things. This 2-year right here, 2-year yield. In terms of supply and demand, what side is greater? Is there more demand for the 2-year? It's up 12%. Is there more demand or is there more supply for that percent there? Go find out and figure out what exactly the flows are. Is there money flowing out of bonds to go into the equity market, or is there money flowing into bonds? You need to go figure that out because, again, we talk about it every day, and I think sometimes you guys flip-flop on when I talk about it because you just don't know. So go find out. Go find out. You can tell your buddies. Okay, let's take a look at the top of the list. Upwork remained in the same spot. FSR, we're looking at, we took the trade over here, right? We took the trade over here on the pullback. Interesting tightening in here. What am I doing on this chart here? I know that yesterday was a market day. You know what I'm doing? I'm removing this candle completely from my analysis. Completely. I see tightening, right? I see tightening. In terms of where this is, it's hard to say exactly. All I would say is that I know I've got a lower trend line here, and I can see that there's some sort of tightening that was occurring in here, whether it was through here, right through here, or whether it's going to be through this idea. There was some sort of tightening. This looks, again, these pullbacks offer opportunity. It's already, in terms of here to here, that's about 3.5, so you're not up that much. Certainly opportunities on charts like this where you remove this completely. Does that mean you could have bought this yesterday? Not exactly, unless you knew for sure, unless you knew some ideas of supply and demand for sure that you could remove this out of context. Could you say that this was moving on a different velocity from the market? Probably not over here. Probably not over here because it was moving like the market. Over here, absolutely. So if this candle happened over here, I would say absolutely you could just on that day ignore it and act like the candle was actually up here and you could have bought. You could have bought, but not over here. But now that you see this, remove the candle. It's the market. It's just the market. This chart's trading on its own velocity over here. Say there's opportunities there. Say there would be opportunities there. For that reason alone, right? Let's see. Tallow from yesterday, continuing. Trend line probably comes in this week. High 11s. APT again, healthcare, medical. Trend line in here, clear trend line in here. Support buy clearly. You had a daily candle pull into support, multiple supports. You had a bounce today. Opportunities there. Opportunities on support. A trend line break. Again, the breakout usually being a little bit stronger and important. Can I copy this and add it? Add. Okay. And so now when I go here, I can add it. Perfect. Find a chart with a resistance. Is this my real resistance line? Add it. Done. Good job, guys. We figured it out. Now we just need the extend line tool. Okay, MP. From yesterday, we talked about this a little bit yesterday as well. When this kind of move happens again, market influence there. Market influence there. Bring it back over to the Ford chart. You can see Ford got rejected right on the trend line, right? Right on the trend line. So confirming resistance there doesn't mean it's gonna reject, right? Like as in a reversal, right? More than likely going to test that a few times. It's going to work through that supply. VXX, again, volatility not betting on further, but that is a bit of a doji, so you need to watch for it. We're certainly going to keep our eyes on volatility because that will, with yields, I talked about this before and didn't really come to fruition or anything, but there are problems in terms of the way the bond market works, how much it's tied into the spot VIX. And again, I've talked about like the financial crisis, how everything was tied into VAR and all of these different things, and then the way everything gets traded due to an increase in volatility that's away from the average. What's been happening with volatility? Well, it just keeps pushing downwards, right? So the average keeps going down. So as soon as there's any sort of upside move, it spikes a ridiculous amount because it's against the average. So then everybody starts to react because of it, right? So if that happens when there's significant yield increase on bonds and there's a flow, like an outflow coming from there, but there's potential of obviously some sort of long-term. Also, your 10-year yield is getting a little bit, I think it just broke the S&P dividend fund. So you actually get a better yield on the 10-year than the S&P div fund right now. So, again, these sort of things, they do matter because you could get
significant flows that are not they're not people trading. It's just fucking algos. Again, 90% of the market are algos. Keep that in mind. Again, energy goes. I don't know, guys. I say it every day for a month, so at this point. And again, these are marginal trades. These are marginal trades where this move here, it's like 25% for the whole trend, I think. It's 28% from there. Obviously, you don't trade the whole thing, but on the break, these are marginal. So it's a tank. So every move, 1% move on the underlying on this chart is probably a few times larger than on some other silly chart, right? Because of the amount of value here. Keep these, I don't know. I don't know. If you're not trading, whoops. If you're not trading them, then I don't know. I don't like money, Don. Listen, Don. I'll tell you what. I am a hog, and I only trade hog. Screw your energy. I don't need money. I like to complain about losing it. GE, yep, GE is a good example. Again, aerospace defense sector. We started talking about it about a week and a half ago. We talked about the GE trendline break here, which was in line with that DFEN resistance and everything else I was talking about. Again, not the best example of a chart because it's the leverage, but the idea is there that you're going to see reactions, right? That break. I can't remember all of the other tickers specifically. I can't remember the fucking name of it. Terrible by me, by the way. Terrible by me. There was another ticker that I wanted to show, but again, we know the others. SPR, we talked about the break here. Of course, again, all tied into sector convergence. Important to certainly understand. I posted the XRX chart last night. I think this is really important. Again, the short-term memory idea. If you guys remember the trade from over here, right? This is when we this is when we really started getting into value. And a lot of the charts that we posted, we talked about, it's going to take some time for it to get there. For instance, on the XRX chart, it pulled back, but we started taking these trades. This is exactly where we took the X trade the first time as well, is this pullback happened into a trend line, right? This trend line. And we took these trades. I talked about the XRX chart that once it broke this trend line here, this was the inbound from way back here, right? That this chart was going to it basically is confirmation that it's going to get up here, right? And so here's the target from over here. So you still have, I don't know, what's that, like another 20 days or so on that target that's already there. But really the idea was that this was actually going to, that idea from back there that it broke that macro trend was that it's going to actually cause it to retrace. So this chart, now we've got a new timeline, right? We've got a new timeline in terms of this. But again, look at that move. Look at that move. All you needed to know was when was that next move coming out of this consolidation. This is very difficult down here. Obviously, you can't. It's very hard to go trade this, but you can learn a lot from this. We talk a lot about when price is breaking down, it needs to consolidate before it makes another move. This is confidence building, right? This is taking things from an uncertain level to a confidence level that, okay, now we understand. And there it is. I mean, again, these things are important to see. And guess what? You don't need to spend your time and your energy trying to find these charts all night. If you're here, then the last thing you should be doing is wasting time trying to go find other trades. You've got the chart. You're not going to find a better chart. I'm sorry. You're not going to find a better chart than me, okay? Those of you that post ideas, that's awesome. I like the idea of that. But those of you that actually spend time and want to go trade something else besides what we trade here, we trade everything basically together here. There's nothing wrong with that. But trying to find something novel is silly, guys. You know it. You mention idea. A lot of times people mention stuff in here and then I actually like it, right? But you know which, you know when it's worth the energy or not, right? Again, things like this, and not to be an asshole, but it's fucking true, guys. Like, you need to worry about executing. Again, I always talk about This is the hardest part of trading, is to do the analysis and find the plays. The easiest part is doing the actual trading, because there's only two things you got to do. All you got to do is hit the buy button and then eventually the sell button. If you're having a hard time with that part, then again, that's what you need to be focused on, is the execution part, because at the end of the day, that is the easiest part. So if you're having problems with that part, again, that means you got to figure it out, or it's just not for you, right? Not for you. But what do you mean, Don? I've only blown up my account a few times. I still haven't learned everything there is to learn. Exactly. So what are you trading for? If you haven't learned everything, you're going to put all your money on the line. What if we had duels still? Imagine if we still had like pistol duels like back then. Would you be willing to just go do pistol duels for the chance to make a few $100 every day? Because that's what some of you do with your money. Some of you put your money on the line and then it hurts. It's basically like having a duel in the street. If you're buying something, you're having a duel with a seller. Are you willing to put like your body on the line for that? Maybe even die? Probably not, unless you feel pretty confident that you're better than the other guy. Why do we feel the need to just, I don't know, do things when we're not sure? Oh. I was going to mention ARC a little earlier. Excuse me. The outflow from over here, right? I'm sure some of you saw the articles and everything. Obviously, ARC, Cathie Wood, and everything. This is one of the best examples. It is the best example of the way that flows are everything. Flows are everything. Why is this chart just continuing to go up? Has nothing to do with what's inside the fund, anything. All it has to do is the flows, the money coming into the fund. Every single month, there's money coming into the fund. When there's less, price consolidates. When there's more, it breaks. What happens when money outflows from the fund? It goes down violently, right? What was over here? A significant outflow. Now, in terms of dollar amount, it's not really that much, but in terms of ARC, it is a lot. So, again, all this was flows. Was there anything to do with pricing on any of the tickers? No, it had nothing to do with any of those. You can go look at the prices. It didn't even matter. None of those actually matter. All that matters are the flows. People putting money in and out of the ETF into the fund. That's it. That's actually it. All flows on this chart. Now, there's times when we can track it, like I've done on we did previously, and then we did on like ARC-G, right? We do it on different things at different times, but it's important to understand that when there's big price movement, almost always is just generated by flows. What are these big candles in here? An inflow. Just an inflow. That's all it is. Is it on a schedule? Not always, no. Could come at different times. So, again, in terms of this, the whole Cathie Wood thing, remove the I like the stock and I like Cathie Wood part of you, and just remember that, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with, even I really didn't like the, I'm not saying I didn't like her Tesla play. Tesla, first of all, she bought Tesla yesterday, like you guys mentioned. Think about this a little bit. How did they have cash to go buy Tesla yesterday? How did they have cash? How did they have cash to buy Tesla yesterday? How do they just randomly have cash on hand, right? Obviously, there's something that they're selling, and there's things to think about. So when you start to think about some of these different things of what's happening, it's really important to understand that a lot of the times, again, it's all flows based, and a lot of the times the decisions don't matter. They don't matter, and so when you see those things, it's so silly to be like, oh, look at Cathie bought something. These things don't generate moves other than through the hype idea, right? Which we trade through We have to trade through hype every single day. We don't trade because of it, though, right? Because how do you then exit that position? Oh, I guess I'll exit it when Kathy does, whatever it is, right? The other thing I was going to make is that the comment I did not like that she said, which I think is something that's going to kind of bite her a little bit because it actually takes away from some of the sophistication that she sort of gave off that she made in terms of decisions, is that she said, oh yeah, the correction is going to keep us humble. Saying that corrections keep you humble is a very strange way to say that, yes, we're buying it because you're a CIO, you're buying because of prices. So obviously it's a better price for you to be buying it down here than up here. So it's worth it to buy here if you think it's coming up here in a target. To say that this keeps you humble is a very strange way to then make the, not excuse, but to rationalize buying. Oh yeah, it's keeping us humble that we're getting a correction. It's good that we're getting corrections. It humbles us. Corrections don't humble us. They're a part of market movement and price movement, and it's very important to get healthy price movement, and we're not just doing random hype things all the time and then crashing because of it all the time. I thought that was a very strange comment, and I think there's going to be plenty of people that find that very strange in terms of the way she said that, because that's not the answer you want to hear your CIO of a $60 billion fund saying in terms of rationale. Yes, there's some, they have sort of the innovative idea and like want to support different things. She's not buying and selling to support the capital of these companies. Elon doesn't need her her billion something dollars to support his endeavor in Tesla to save the planet or whatever. So she doesn't invest in bios to save people's lives. That's not why her investors are buying in. And so that was, I thought, a very strange sense of words, and I think it might go to some of the things that go on over there, and I think that's going to cause a problem if there's another outflow, and I think we already saw it. Let me just show you real quick. Like, you look at ARKG here, this outflow, it didn't take much, guys. It was only like $120 million compared to a $60 billion fund, right? That $120 million caused a significant move in terms of a flow, and I think it's comments like that are going to cause moves. So when we start to talk about some of these, I think it's important to put some of these together, because a lot of the money in here is because of the hype about Cathie Wood. That's why this was so consistent. This over here is not. Do you like that price movement? No, you don't. It's a level of volatility that for things, for an ETF, is not good. It's bad. You're fucking bloated. You're like a university that just hires a bunch of middle managers. You're just bloated. You're bloated like a university, just trying to spend your money by hiring a bunch of morons as middle managers to do a bunch of roles that don't actually matter, and you don't need all those people hired. That's what the university system is, right? In this country, just bloated. It's all bloated. That's what this is bloated. There isn't actually any, I mean, beyond the flow, all this volatility is just being bloated. You have too much. You have too much to manage. Keep those ideas in mind, because it's going to be important for some of the things coming up, I believe, just like it would be for treasuries, looking at yields increasing, the way investors decide, make decisions, right? And in terms of verbiage and shit, a lot of you don't care, right? That's fine. But in terms of a macro sense, where we're going, what people think, try to preempting moves, we want to know what everyone else thinks, right? So just some things to think about. Let's see. See, Ford's trying again. In terms of moves here, it's 10:21. Good time. It's a good time. You break through this, you get a bit of a rally. You're going to get a bit of a pullback lunge. If it doesn't break through here, you have a melt-up lunge through the trend line possibility. So like noontime, 1 o'clock, start to melt through with just, there's not enough volume to hold you down on the supply side. That could certainly happen. A lot of different chances that we can watch for and understand the trajectory because of that. Retail stores continue. Retail stores continue. Looks, there's definitely not the same level of anxiety, of course, because of the tightening here. Just give me one sec, guys. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the retail favorites. DraftKings, big move yesterday. Staying within this trend line, I think is a great opportunity for those of you that didn't enter from here, didn't take the first break. Certainly a great opportunity here. Also keeping in mind that you've got this idea of some sort of trend line up in here. There's of course the horizontal resistance in here, but I think it's important to keep in mind that there's some idea up here of why we couldn't continue, right? Because think about it. You make this move, it seemed very clear. It's market sort of reactions, some sort of market reactions in here. So it's hard to tell what the exact trend line is. But you got the high. I think the proximity here towards that open space is a little too great not to get a move. Similar to Penn, right? It's very hard for Penn not to continue trending to the upside because of just the open space, right? Every time it reaches that, that all-time high, yes, it's going to generate consolidations. But it's very hard for this not to gravitate this way. It's just very hard. There's just a level of demand that's consistent enough that there's no selling that's beyond selling affecting it for one day or another. On the overall macro side, it's very hard for it to stop that move. There's just not enough. There's just not enough people selling, right? These kind of moves in here is what you look for, right? This type of consolidation in here, this tightening, right? For the move to continue towards the upside. When do you buy? Well, this gives you a chance possibly to preempt a move. If this signals enough confidence in terms of putting a position on to then say, okay, well, tomorrow, based on this tightening move, this is going to lead to some sort of confidence move into tomorrow so I can preempt a trade, or I'll just wait until open tomorrow. Based on this, I can then enter at open if it's bid. Could you have entered at open today if it was bid because of this candle? No, you needed another candle, which is why we talked about you're going to need to see consolidations happen, a little bit of confidence be generated. So this candle would signal that tomorrow, if it was bid, you could buy on it. You couldn't do it today, but you could do it tomorrow because you've got a nice doji here, nice tightening. It's tight enough. This was too wide of a spread. Unless you bought on the whip itself. Buying on the whip gives you buyers underneath you. It's just hard to get that timing down. You had to be looking right at that chart, right? You had to look at that chart to get that whip buy. So it's okay to buy on that whip, but you have to be getting the timing just well enough that you are buying when you've got buyers behind you. Otherwise, it's just not worth it ever, right? And that's why we talk about waiting for consolidation and then the break, right? Very different candle here. Very different candle here. Finishing, we get about 2 minutes left on this 15. Very different vibe from the start of the day. I think it's important to see that. If we take a look at tech, a part of that, right? Part of that, a little bit of recovery here. It's almost 1%. Jump over here. This has been elevated the whole time, but you're still getting that same move as well. Everything moving a little bit together could be a sign. Could be a sign of further. Let me bring this over here. Okay. Let's look at the dollar. Let's get some macro sense. The dollar pushing down. Maybe it's starting. You're getting a bit of a 2-bar reversal in here. Certainly a chance to break it. It's still below, so as long as it's below the level, there's not really an anxiety. Volatility, see if it's dropping. Okay, here you go. A little bit of a drop there. That last 15-minute that we see, again, these candles are a little off, but this 15 is in line with that, what we just saw over there. Over 4.5% lost on volatility there. I think it's important to probably see that. ET had continued from the open. Again, travel just a level of volatility going one way that's just unmissable. Retail even getting, excuse me, even retail through like just GameStop here, feeling confident on their move, right? Feeling confident enough to buy in here. Not a tradable ticker in here right this moment. We talked about it. You need some break through the supply a little bit. But, okay. Something to keep in mind. Free Willy continues. And again, some of you find this ticker to be such a meme that you just keep missing it. But there are people trading this, obviously. So just imagine. Just imagine a world where you were a SeaWorld trader. You could tell everybody. You could get a Free Willy t-shirt, right? You might even like to watch the movie Free Willy now if you traded this. Haters are going to hate on the chart, but you know what? Those of you that, it's a lot, guys. It's a move. It is a move, and it's never let us down. This thing has held that trend. I mean, it doesn't get much better. It really doesn't get much better in terms of knowing when to buy and knowing when to sell. Doesn't get much better than this, guys. And by the way, these lines were the all-time high. That one right there is the all-time high. It's in all-time high right now. What do? We like to trade all-time high charts, don't we? Some of you are going, no. SeaWorld, the fundamentals. Who's going to SeaWorld? Exactly. You're trading for all the wrong reasons, and you want to make it like you're a good person. You're not. Cut the shit. You're not a good person for thinking that SeaWorld sucks ass and that you're not going to go and people wouldn't go there. No one's going to get on a boat. Who's going to get on a boat? I couldn't possibly trade that because it's against my morals. I don't like oil. I like the idea of clean energy. Does that mean I'm not going to trade energy? No. That's stupid. I want to make money, not starve. Eat fucking Hot Pockets like half this chat for $10 or whatever you guys fucking said. I keep forgetting. Brian says NCLH earnings pre-market. I really wonder how good these earnings are going to be. What do you guys think about their last quarter of cruises? Do you think that that Norwegians had a good quarter? What do you guys think? It looks like they must have had a great quarter based on price in here. I bet they're going to have a great quarter. A lot of cruises, a lot of people, a lot of very happy customers on those cruises, I bet, right? Big revenues. Big revenues on that Norwegian cruise line, for sure. Imagine thinking that. Imagine saying, oh, no. No. There's no way. Oh. Tiva, can we get some more lines on that chart, please? You're going to get one because we're about to get a wedge. So you're going to expect the Tiva chart tonight, boys. New wedge. But again, you've got the trend line in here, and it's important, again, to remember what it means to be buying on support here. And again, I don't think anyone, no one's forgetting, no one forgets this chart, but there are charts that when this happens, you forget about it until it makes a move. Look down here, guys. Look at the move down in here as it comes in and then it makes the move. You know when it's happening. And there's a reason why we have so many lines on this chart, because it continues to happen. When it comes into the trend line and makes a move, look at this. Look at this. And look at this, right? It's happened fucking 10 times now. And there's so many goddamn lines on this chart, I'm going to lose my mind. And I'm about to draw another one. We have to keep, the saddest part is that we have to keep the lines on the chart because they matter. Oh, God. I'm going to lose my mind. Anyway. Anyway, PGAP, yup. PGAP. If only, I really just wish that there was a way that we could know when these things were happening. Like, I wish there was a service that I could just pay $80 a month and I would actually get the things that I need, like where to buy and where to possibly sell it. If there was a way that was simple, maybe like green as in go and red as in stop, or a line in which I know to sell on, and then possibly go, just do anything, right? And it could be really simple. And then I could go put $1,000 on a trade, go make 10 grand, and I only have to pay $80 a month. I don't even pay, think about it. I really just wish there was a way. If there was any kind of way that there was something like that, obviously anyone that would do that would be out of their mind. Doesn't even make sense. Because if someone knows those things, why would they ever go do that and waste their fucking time? That's a great question. That's certainly a great question. But I just really wish, that's all. I'm kind of new. Expensive, yeah. $80 is super expensive. That joke I made last night about the therapy costing $80 an hour and you fuckers pay $80 a month is probably one of the best examples. I used to charge for chess lessons. So those of you who don't know, I used to play in like chess tournaments and everything growing up. So when I moved to the city, I needed some extra income, so I was doing chess lessons. $75 an hour for chess lessons. $75 an hour. Okay? And I had, there was less kids I taught than you guys, but in total. But still, that hourly rate is, you guys are fucking monthly. Nothing better than people that make over, people that make six figures a year is going, Jesus Christ, $80 a month is fucking expensive, dude. The real ones in chat because you get the messages like, hey man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make rent this month. Like, dude, I think you might be losing too much money. Queen's Gambit, Fibs. Queen's Gambit. The Queen's Gambit was very good. Definitely the best adaptation of chess I've ever seen, since all the other ones fucking suck. Trying to capture a game of chess is obviously very difficult for normies. But all the other ones are frustrating. It's a great show, though. Memeing aside, again, that FSR move, I think it's important to keep in mind. Oh my, making a move. Let's see. You guys want alerts, don't you? What about D now if it breaks his hut? Excuse me. Not enough volume, I'm kidding. It's a joke. Even if it moves, I don't care. Okay, let's see. You guys want an alert? I'm doing it on your screen to make it the anticipation better instead of just looking through my fucking list. It's so much better when I do it over here. Now, I've already given you guys like the OG alerts, which if you didn't get a part of, I mean, it's on you because you've had weeks. You've had weeks and weeks. If you didn't get a part of banks, energy, travel, REITs, those are 4 different fucking sectors that you could have bought 100 different tickets for each of those. So in my mind, if you didn't do any of those, then there's nothing I can say or do that's going to make you do anything. So I'm going to keep that in mind. You know, I talk about healthcare. I mean, there's so many charts. Like, what do you guys? I don't even know what to do. You know, I can't do much more than just draw the fucking line on the chart, and you just react. You want me to? You know what I could do? I could put. I think we have what? A couple thousand charts. I'll just bring them all up on the screen at once. Do you guys want to see every chart? I know you guys get those little 23-inch monitor screens, so it's going to be a little hard for you to see, but we could just make every single chart a thumbnail. I could just line up the whole screen with the charts, and then I could put a big dollar sign on the ones that are alerts. Something like that. Put a few hundred charts on the screen here. Hey Don, I can't look at every chart. Can you put all the charts on the screen for me? I don't buy anything when you tell me to buy it. And I don't listen to when you say that something might be going up and I might need to watch it. But if you put a bunch of charts on the screen, I'll know right then and there. What about this one? What about this? Hotbox. HTBX. Heat Biologics. What about this break? I'm just kidding, guys. No volume. I see a lot of charts that have put some significant points on. Oh, God, guys. Oh, if only there was a way to know that we could have got that. DBX support bounce today. Still garbage. I don't know. I'm a believer. How? I mean, how? Trendline. How can you look at the multiple 25 rejections in the downtrend? I don't look at it in the sense that it's gotten rejected. I look at it in that there's a chance to swing up to that level at least. I would say the tightening here relates to some sort of move towards the upside. Whether it's going to be at 25, at 30 is beyond knowing. But the ability to take this trade from support today, which obviously I'm defending it, so obviously it did. Preempting a move because of the volatility, sort of like the SDC chart. You have an ability to get some lift on it that even if it's been rejected 100 times, it doesn't change the fact that it swings back and forth enough with volatility. Go look at those IVs on this chart. There's enough, when you think of the left or right tail here, you look at that IV chart, it looks something like this, right? Here's the at the money, and then it's like this. So the more in the money it is, the more volatility it has, which is true, but that also increases premium so that if I'm taking profit at resistance, I'm going to get fucking paid. So you can be a doubter. You've been playing we've been playing this. Look, I just posted the chart just this year. Right? I mean, we've been playing this nonstop. Look, there is another pattern here. I don't know where it is, but we had the one down here as well. Yeah. Twitter, yeah. So again, that Twitter entry from yesterday, guys. If you didn't get this entry from yesterday, a lot of this is the same thing of the other charts where this candle here is not because of the ticker itself or the chart itself. It's because of the market, and you got to know the difference. And I think that's an important trade that, yeah, you can go make the trade on the breakout up here, but the difference between these two buys is significant. That's a big number. And you know what's great about it is that you can get out of the position even up here if it gets rejected. You can't take the trade here and then feel good about getting stopped out at break even because it got rejected. You can feel good about making profit here though. So again, when those opportunities come, you just have to take it and have, again, this is where risk comes into play on a chart. Twitter is a good example because we've been so bullish on it. To say that you can't, and I brought this up on stream yesterday, if you can't take the trade here, then you're gonna have a very hard time putting risk on any trade. You gotta put some risk on to be able to make a trade. And so as soon as that breaks back on top, you have to go take that trade. I think because if you were willing to take the trade over here because of the same reason, you've got to be willing when it's a market reason and not the chart reason. You've got to be willing to take that trade. So look at the tightening in here. Should lead to more upside. If there's a rejection, there's a rejection, and you can take profit on that move. You can't take profit on a move that has just started by entering here. You can enter on the breakout, but now you need to wait. But absolutely is a trade to take because, again, nothing has changed. This is tightening, flagging, or I mean it's really a pennant, but it's, again, you gotta you gotta remove this candle, I would say, which is going to be very, I mean, again, just like rotation day, you're going to have to remove some of those candles that kind of fuck with the averages, right? This here, November 9th, the infamous candle, we've had to remove that from all understanding other than it's a rotation. And so we understand that from that point on, there's a difference in charts. But this day, beyond some of the understanding, has to get removed a little bit on individual charts. Fib says, can you look at CLF, please? Sure. Here's the Apple chart, still going towards the downside, but tightening. So again, this chart you should not be going long on. MP through resistance. We talked about this from open. This MP chart is a fucking nightmare, though. I know for sure. So I know it's a nightmare because the spreads and everything. So, and yeah, I'm memeing. I'll look at the CLF chart for you. There you go. What do you want me to tell you? It's on support. It's setting up a nice support buy tomorrow. Setting up a nice support buy. Tightening today. Closing on the support. Sets up a nice day tomorrow. If it's bid, if it just sits there and doesn't do anything, you don't take the trade. This trade is tied in with that chart we just looked at, the X chart, right? What do you do on this chart? Well, you had a great buy opportunity yesterday, just like we always buy on every pullback. So again, if you didn't take the trade here, it's very hard to take the trade right here. You need to get the next break here, of course. So, you know, again, this comes down to just taking the trade when it's there in front of you all the time, right? That's why you got to sort of critique yourself sometimes when you're like, oh, well, now I can take the trade. Nope, you usually can't. A lot of the times when you're asking yourself that during the day, you already missed it. Again, we're watching retail stores in their move. Okay. Visa and MasterCard having a good start here. They're having a good start. In terms of the way you put a position on here, again, just because it's you trade these however you plan on trading and however you know what kind of trader you are, right? You put on a long position here, Junes or something, and you react the way that you need to react, right? Or you wait. You wait for further upside because you're looking at the chart through this idea instead of just that there's a trend here, right? However you want to trade this, whether you want to take multiple different swing trades, starts to reverse, take profit. It pulls back, you take the chance to enter it. Maybe it consolidates for a little while. You don't know, but you need to have an answer for each one of these different moves so that you can dictate what kind of trade you should enter now. If you're going to take profit on every move, and you know you will, then do a short-term trade so that you can make an actual gain on the upside move. Don't buy Junes. Don't buy Junes if you're going to take profit on every pullback, right? Junes would be to push it further. If you're going to take profit and you know you would, then buy short terms, right? Buy the short terms so that you can take advantage of that gain. And you guys know who you are, that you can't remove that scalping mentality you have of the maybe a little bit of anxiety when price pulls back a little bit. And you're still in profit, but you see your profit going down. You're sitting on unrealized gains. That's hard. It is hard. So make trades accordingly, right? Make trades accordingly. Disney continues. Again, we talked about the trend line that it's coming up into here, continuing this move. Again, important trade to see. In terms of its relation, Brian, what was the chart you mentioned yesterday looking like Disney? Sorry, forgot. MTCH, right? So look at the difference. Look at the difference you see here, right? You need to see that clear break of the trend line in here. This is still underneath the trend line, right? So it's the length of time. See the difference between these two charts? The amount of time it's been pulling back in the move it made in relation. It looks similar, but did it make a clear break, right? Which would be more bullish. Very easy to call this one more bullish because of the clarity and the not even just the breakout, which is obvious, but also the amount of time it pulled back, the tightening that was involved. A lot more swinging on that other MTCH chart. And again, if you had to make me buy one, that's exactly why this would be more bullish, right? And again, this tied into value. Again, travel. Just fucking travel. Is this because, and I said this last week when it was over here somewhere, I said, is Disney bullish because of the streaming numbers right now? Like for the people that are trading fundamentally or whatever. Is it because of the streaming numbers or because of fucking travel? Those of you that said Disney Plus are wrong. You're just wrong. They're not making money on Disney Plus, just like they're not making money on travel. But guess what's back right now? Fucking travel. People are going to Disney parks and they're making money on that. They're not making money on Disney Plus. So to try to use fundamentals and things for understanding this trade is just silly, because you could just, there's an argument for everything. Oh, people are traveling and are making, Disney's making money on that? Okay, well that's a reason to buy it. Are they making money on Disney Plus? No, they're actually losing money. So wouldn't that mean it's not as good? So again, it's just technical. It's just fully technical at this point. It's really silly to be, yes, Disney Plus, it's going to be a competitor in the market. It's cool as shit. But again, trading because of that, because you like The Mandalorian, is the dumbest thing in the world. It's literally the dumbest thing in the world to try to make arguments about that, right? You're going to come up with a different argument every single day, right? When you're doing that stuff and you're looking at their, it doesn't matter. Especially during COVID, to try to think you have any clue, insane. Absolutely insane. All right, let's take a look. Yep, so some important things to look at. SunPower, again, a good tightening day, a consolidation. It's consolidating the move to the downside here. It's important to get confidence built through here, which would be trading on the trend line. So it will be clear when there's a move. And again, I kind of talked about it. You need this trend line. You need to break that trend line for a true entry. Otherwise, you just make a day trades and you get no clue, right? No confidence there. Important to see that. BA, again, the power of news not fucking mattering. Crashes that are happening. The engine blew out and they have to recall all those planes and check all the engines and everything else. Do you really think that bad news matters? What did we say over here? That aerospace and defense, that entire sector, is doing great. And what did I even say? I said, you know what? I hate this chart, and this is such a bearish chart. And what did I say over here? That this is going to converge with its sector. It's going to converge with its sector. That all of those different charts we're looking at, SPR, DFEN, as the ETF, that those are going to break because as a sector it's converging. So even BA, probably the company that has fucked up the most from COVID already happened, and there was already going to be some problems. And then the fact that the crashes, the engines, mismanagement, it couldn't get any worse. Tell me that tell me that there's something in terms of news that matters. Fundamentals matter. I mean, it's crazy. It's just crazy. Full convergence. I think it's important to see the move here and understand that there is some volume because of what's going on in news, right? So that news does provide volume. There is going to be higher volume here today. When we ask the question of, on the technical side of supply and demand, which side is that volume going to go on? If we know that the entire A&D space as a sector is converging towards the upside together, that volume is going to go to one side, no matter the news, no matter what's going on in the fundamental, because again, it's just supply and demand. There isn't a real way for it to, even if people said, oh, that's Boeing sucks, you'd have to be in a long position already. Is anyone in a long Boeing position? By my calculations, I would say since it lost about 100% of its value, there's basically no one in a long position. So it's pretty hard to be on the supply side if you don't already own it. It's hard to sell something if you don't already own it. And are you going to sell short here? Probably not, because that'd be pretty ridiculous. So again, where's that volume going in because of the attention? It's going to the demand side because of a convergence on the sector. It's so important to see that, and why you can make a trade that might seem like a bonehead trade, turn it into something that's actually true. And again, I talked about the megaphone bottom in here, right? The megaphone bottom, I talked about it here. You can go look back on the stream. It's really important to put some of those ideas in. Again, it's not that you can draw a pattern before it breaks out, but we're getting confirmation of a break. That's what's important to see. And also, it doesn't need to continue. It's the point that we're getting convergence in that sector, so you can trade the other charts. That's what matters. Look at SPR. That's what matters. You don't need to trade Boeing. You trade the other ones that actually matter. Boeing doesn't really matter. It's just a prop, right? It's basically a prop for the idea. These trades matter. And so you can go see that Boeing move and see, okay, well, here's the fucking convergence, baby. And guess what? You're getting paid because most people took that trade on the break here and pushed it, right? So it's important to be able to do that. It's so important. And again, that's where just having different ideas for everything is just bad trading and bad, stupid excuses. And I don't listen to people that give stupid ideas, right? Just dumb. Waste my time. Get something that works, you just stick with it, right? It's really hard to break discipline when something works very well, right? It's very hard. You have a good strategy, you become disciplined because of it. It's very hard. Sometimes it hurts you because it's hard to come, to take other ideas and to use them. So being exposed to new things is hard, and you miss some trades, but also if it's benefiting you and working, then you can't stop it, right? You don't break a mold if it works. But yeah, I wouldn't trade. You can use Boeing a part of this idea, but again, there's so many better ways to trade with it and understand what's happening with that. Sector convergence is such a big thing. This flows idea that we've had, we could talk for a week about it, right? And again, there's too many things to study in terms of those ideas, in terms of the derivatives. And then you ask me, well, isn't the stock market a derivative of the option market? So can't you actually see this move happening? Absolutely. Go look at the options on this fucking chart when I was talking about it back here. There's a reason why I start to talk about things. I don't. You guys know better that I don't start talking about something unless I've got some confidence and some clarity behind it, and I know that there's something going on. Go look at the calls in the options over here. Go look at them. There's a reason why. There's a reason for everything, right? There's a reason for anything. Why is this going here? Are institutions buying shares right now? Are they going long on Boeing because of those great engine failures, those great crashes? Do they love people dying? Is that why they're buying? Or do you think that these are market makers? You let me know. You let me know. Is this a market? Who do you think this is? Is this you and me and your cousin Greg buying the shares? Or do you think there might be some institutional reasons in here of market makers buying the underlying? WSB, right? Exactly. So again, things that we talk about, you know when you see it. Go buy a call. Go buy a call. Could you buy a call right now and assure yourself that you're going to break even? 100%. Even if it goes down 1% here. But Greg only sells. Exactly. Tiva is moving again. the support buy here. You're going to get elevation off that. The kind of lift that you're going to get is equal to these amounts here. This repetitive nature is why there's so many lines on this chart, and it is a bit of a joke because you don't need all of it, but it's important to realize that these moves, you need to understand that these moves are all coming out of consolidations and signaling a new trend, right? And understand that it's obvious. And again, if you're missing these moves, these are the ones that hurt because these are the ones that you do have control over, that just by virtue of looking at the chart you can trade. These charts are the ones that the video is coming tonight, boys. It's been a fucking busy week. I've had to look at charts for 10 hours a day. I'm going to talk about putting your orders in the night before at where there's a level. You should have an SDC order every night, a TIVA order every night. The DBX is one that I do. You got to have that order in there every night so that you see that on the side of your screen and you go, oh shit, here we go again. Like the San Andreas meme that you guys love. You gotta unpause that order and submit it. That's it. Facebook order every day, exactly. I've got a Facebook short every day. Sometimes I can't push it, but again, another idea of convergence is that social media convergence. Look at the move here. Snap, Twitter really leading. It's so important to see that, and we talked about it over here. Remember what happened over here? Here's the beginning of February. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Snap chart. What happened over here? What happened over here? Right? Think about the differences between all these charts and the way they're connected. Facebook. What's happening over here? Outflow, big outflow. Looks a little bit like an inflow to me. Not all at once, but big boys. It's a lot easier. You know what you do when you have a garage sale? You sell everything once. If you're buying things, you don't buy it all at once. You buy it on a schedule. What does that look like to you? Looks like someone sold their whole Facebook position to go buy a little bit of Twitter here on a schedule. How would you see that? Let me tell you a little bit about this thing called Level 2. You can go look at this Level 2 book that shows all the orders, and you can see the same orders every single day at the same time by institutions buying on a schedule. They don't care what the price is, they just want to buy on a schedule so they don't fuck the price and get a bad average, right? You can see it. We talked about it then. I'm memeing because we saw it then. That's how we knew, right? That looks like fun. I'm just kidding. Not enough volume. The technicals are what matter. Seeing it is what matters. Some of those charts, again, we don't trade them. Whew. Okay. I see Lyft and Uber getting into that. Again, it's that all-time high trade. You can always take Uber in a different spot. Now, what do we know about the relationship between these charts? I would go, this is again not something you should do during the trading day, but just since this is the time we can talk together, I want you to take a look at what kind of correlations you can find between the Uber and Lyft chart, since they are the same fucking company, or same, I don't mean the same company, but they are a part of the exact same sector. We've talked so much about sector convergence. See what you can find in there. And maybe you can figure out a little something about timing. If Lyft goes into all-time high, what do you think is going to happen over here? You go find out how things move. Does the smaller sized company move before the larger sized company? And which one moves by a larger percentage? That should be the easiest question in the world to answer. Would a small cap or a company that's smaller than a larger company move by a larger percentage and move first before a bigger company? The obvious answer is yes. Lyft moves quicker than Uber does because it's smaller, right? It's smaller. It's $100 billion fucking dollar company. Lyft, I don't even know. Let's see what it says down here. Lyft is a $19 billion company. A little bit of a difference, right? Uber's 5 times the size. Important to see that. Let's take a look at the market average. Very nice move in there. Very nice move in there. Heading up towards the high of yesterday. This is where things get interesting, right? You post a higher high and a higher low. Well, you've started a new trend. You've started a new trend unless you're getting a little bit of... again, you don't buy here unless you're expecting more, right? So if there's a selling that occurs, well, then people were buying for no reason. And so that would just tell us that people have no clue what they're doing, which can happen. We know the difference between them. Value, small caps, looking great. There is anyone surprised? No. No one here is surprised. Maybe the market is. Maybe the market is. Tech, anyone surprised? Anyone surprised? No one's surprised. No one is, right? Nobody is. And so again, it's so important. And again, this is opportunity cost. The opportunity cost for you to go buy one of the big tech companies, mega caps, over just buying something else that's heading towards the upside like value. If your money's in tech compared to putting money in value, you're not making money. And there's no excuse for it. There's nothing you can make for an excuse that says that you're making the right decision, because you're not. You're not. There is no such thing. And that's again why what's important here is to understand where your money should be. It's very easy to see, and it's going to be very easy for you to see in hindsight when you see how much money you could have made. Just like I've talked about with travel 100 times, with banks 100 times, energy 100 times, REITs 100 times. They're just things that you don't want to trade. You just wish I would alert your stock, your dumb stock that you want to buy or that you're bag holding. Get out of dog chasing and go buy what actually works. Do what works, right? You want to drive on the other side of the road? Go move to Europe. If you're in Europe and you want to drive on the other side of the road, move to, not America, move to Canada, okay? But it's important. Again, every day I'm going to keep repeating the same ideas because it will click. It will click. Tesla, okay. EV moves. Let's talk about it. What's it take to enter Tesla here? It's probably more of a personal question for everybody. When is it an okay time to enter this? Well, it's fucking bearish out of its mind, so it's going to take quite a bit of confidence for me to enter it, that's for sure. It's big sizing for most of you. It's a little out of your wheelhouse anyway. Trend line wise, it's not a very good trend line. It's kind of shit. You don't really have much to go on. You don't really you don't have anything, so you need to consolidate, right? Or you need to just blow past this goddamn thing and come back up here and come back to reality. Come break these trend lines. Come break this trend line, right? And I really wish I could just extend this quickly. There you go. Is this going to whip? Well, it's whipping right now. It's whipping right now. What's it take for the confidence to make this a possibility for a trade that makes sense? You need clarity. No one here can say for sure. You could say, well, how do we ever know for sure? Well, there's a lot of... I can show you 100 other charts that are a lot clearer than this one. Maybe this trend line here. Maybe EV, a whole sector. If the whole sector moves, then if you could buy here if the whole sector was moving, right? If the whole sector was moving and looking good and it was chasing, you could do it, right? You could do it. So Ford breakout, okay, then I feel a little bit better with Tesla. Neo breakout, I would say, is more important for Tesla. If this is going as well, you need everything to move together, and you would need the market moving together, which for Tesla would be the S&P and the NASDAQ. Is the NASDAQ moving? Not yet. It would need to break this trend line before I feel comfortable. So all of those things together, then I would do it, right? Then I would do it. So once everything, just like every trade, you need the macros together. PGen, JGR's mentioned, I'm going to go through JGR's alerts. PGen from the support today. Pola. Some Pola chairs. Trend line.
Again, even an average with these 2 wicks in here, that's a break. Again, those are just shares. So, I mean, pretty straightforward in terms of risk. You don't need to do any calculation. That's not a trade I'm taking, though. I don't have any, and get no available capital. Bio, you break the level. See ya. FedEx and UPS are important ones to talk about because, again, the market, this last candle can really affect your understanding of these charts when you already understood the chart and then it throws you off a little bit in here. Understand the trajectory that these charts are on. UPS, I'm going to show you, you can see the difference here being down here. Sector convergence, right? You get a trend line break in here. Look at the swing opportunity. Yeah, you can say it's been bearish and consolidating, but that would be a breakout. What do? We trade breakouts. It's very hard not to go take for the opportunity of this, and especially the opportunity up into here on a lot of these charts. Watch for them. These are charts that hasn't moved yet. You can watch, right? DFEN, obviously aerospace and defense, I've talked about a billion times. It makes the break, and some of you are going, whatever that was. And, again, we've already made these trades, by the way. So you see my mouse over here a lot? It's because I already made the fucking trades. And you should have too. And if not, it's because you're learning. There's nothing wrong with that, right? People posting shit in chat are usually the people that have already, they want you to buy too, okay? They want you to, Netflix, Netflix, again, we shorted Netflix. It was successful. And just like yesterday when we took profit on those shorts over here, this over here is now, if it breaks here, now you have a new opportunity towards the upside, right? You can't go short and then buy it immediately after you take profit on your short. But again, this was our first short. I posted this short idea first before the rest of the other tickers, right? We shorted Netflix first. Important to see the success in that trade. Again, you're talking about hundreds of percents buying puts over here at that resistance. You don't buy calls immediately after you sell them, but over here, absolutely. You're now talking about a situation where you're breaking through a level. That's strength. That's upside strength. And I would mention this trend line in here is certainly looking important. Whether it's an average in here, where price is now, or here, I would say it's probably where price is right now. That's your point. You got a bit of a ceiling above you, but there it is. What would this be? It's really hard to say. But it's some sort of continuation triangle in here with a bit of a gap in here, which sometimes we allow based on if the trend is there. Something like this in here, and we avoid some of that and understand a consolidation, rally, gap. But again, that would be a move up in here for sure. What else we got in chat? GM. Yep. So again, sector convergence. Again, if that whole sector moves, absolutely is a trade to take. And again, when we talk about the trades you take the leader first. You take the leading trade first, right? So we took the forward trade first. If this leads to convergence in the sector from the other tickers, then you take the trade as it breaks as well. You have time. You have time. You still have time. You still have time to react. Tesla, NIO are tied into the market a lot more. So you need more information here, right? You need the cues, you need everything, the big boys to get into this trend or something first, right? Because it's too many points, too big of an outflow. A lot of different things. But yeah, so again, this move again. The problem is that I keep using this DFEN chart and not just showing you the whole sector. And again, we've already looked at the individual tickers, so you don't really need to see it. But that ETF, again, is benchmarked, and it's a leverage. So that timing is a little off. So, yeah. What are the levels on GM? Really just a trend line. It's really just a trend line. You can, if we go ahead and look through here, certainly you've sort of crossed this, what is this, 51.89, 51.90. You can just throw them in. I'll throw them in just for the heck of it, but
a lot of this is just trend line oriented, right? And so when you start to look through here, you don't really have any other levels, right? You might have a 53 and a quarter kind of idea in here, 53 and a quarter. Otherwise, you don't. Everything else is just trend line based, right? You might have 55, this 55.10 or so. I don't really want to put these levels in here because I don't think it's a good representation of what's going on when it's all trend based, right? This is all trend line based, and again, there's a time for everything. This is certainly more trend line based, as it was before, right? We weren't going, yeah, there's a fucking line in here, but it's not a resistance. It's just not a resistance, right? It's a trend line, right? This over here is certainly a moment that's gonna just look for the sector. It just looks for the sector. This we said the last level in here to think about is a psychological 12, and that's it. See ya, right? See you later. Retail store is going again. That means those of you that have been in position continue to get paid. What do I do about this chart? The Aqua Booty chart. There's so many weird things happening over here. I wish I could just fucking click this button. Okay. I posted this over here even though it wasn't a true breakout because I think it's important to have this trend line here. Let me extend this one as well. I posted this even though it didn't break out, right? And it just sat on support, and I mentioned that it was sitting on support because you get those converging trend lines. Here's the market yesterday. You got to remove that candle because it's the market and not the ticker itself, right? This was holding support fine. It wasn't going to break down. Remove the market. Okay. Now, you've got today so far, it's gravitating towards the supply. What are we going to do when this comes to like $8 here? If this is bid through $8, then you're going to get a significant move because now you're going to have that whole level of buyers underneath you. You've now proven the fact that price is not going to be trending down and it can overcome the market. You start to look at some of these things. This is, I know it's a little bit of a silly chart and I give it a dumbass name, Aqua Booty, but these kind of the moves are the ones that we're looking for out of these very bearish moves. Why? Because if we're buying charts that everyone else is buying and it's just pushing to the upside, we're not making much money. Yeah, we're making money with everyone else. This is a bearish chart that's jack. It's just shit. It's just shit. It's a lot of red. People don't want to buy it. This is one of those ones where I showed you on the move where you want to be buying when it just doesn't look very good and then it looks good in a day or two. And then you sell it before it starts looking bad, right? Sometimes you got to do it. It's a good example of one. If it comes into favor, then there it is. Sono continues. Again, if you didn't get that move yesterday, you missed it. You messed up. GE is really our largest aerospace and defense sector pick. Of course, when we first started talking about the idea, we were a little bit further back in here. We talked about a trend line break when this first got rejected. And then we took the trade. Again, this is the leader. So when we talk about leaders and laggers, and then we trade the leader and then trade the laggers that are converging. This was the leader. We took this trade. SPR was at the same time, of course. So you could call that a leader, but this is the largest. That's the big boy. Originally in a marginal trade doesn't make very big moves on the underlying. Big moves on the options, and these moves are fucking getting you paid. If there is no risk to take that trade. The only reason you didn't take the trade is because you weren't looking at it. You were busy picking your nose, picking your butt, sitting there complaining about God knows what. All you had to do was make the trade. And a lot of you made this trade down here. I think it was McKee's and I were making the trade in here. I think we did it on GM as well through this level. This is where value, again, all those charts with value I posted. It took a month, and then we took the trade on the break, and it was see you later, senorita. A couple of Lacasas on the way, because everyone wanted travel, or everyone wanted to trade value, and there's always a way to find out when that's going to happen, right? And so we had all those charts where we said, you know what, it's coming. As soon as we break those resistances,
It's going to move. What did I say? It's going to move between those levels very quickly. The same thing is what's happening up here, right? It's now retraced to that February high. Look at where price is. It's now finally retraced to that February high. It's no longer going to be value. It's no longer going to be value. It's retraced. Now, it's going to be value in the terms of retracement. Now it's going to be a pick that has the ability to not value from COVID, but the value from its previous moves, right? And this is again where you got to start to remove some of the full broad statements and go into sector specifics and say, look at this chart is from down here. The first time we were taking the trade, which was through some of these levels, it's really through here. That's 90%. What were a lot of those moves? 100% or so was the average. So keep that in mind. Again, go look at the options and find out what's going on in there. REITs, how have you missed all the REITs moves? A lot of you just don't like REITs. You don't like the charts because it's not a cool chart that you can go tell your cousin Greg, hey man, I bought SPG today. Hey man, I made 100% on SPG over the last 2 weeks. It just doesn't feel as cool as saying like, hey man, I bought pot stocks. Yeah, bro. Like it's because some of you think like that. You do think like that. And it stops you from making really dumb, easy trades, right? You guys want to be like a hero and go make a miracle happen on silly charts when all you got to do is just get on the ride. Get on. It'll make you get off. The ride will stop. You'll know when to get off. It's a fucking REIT. It moves 1 mile an hour. If pot stocks and these other silly charts are moving 100 miles an hour, these move 1 mile an hour. It doesn't get much slower. So when it starts to make a move, it really tells you. It really tells you when it's moving. Hey, I got rich on Planet Fitness. Exactly. No one wants to say, yeah, how did you become a millionaire? Well, I actually became a millionaire trading Planet Fitness options. What are the other dumb ones? What are some other dumb ones? Like some of the dumb things I traded during COVID, for instance. There's so many different tickers out there that are just so stupid. SeaWorld. Yeah, I made $100,000 on SeaWorld. Yeah, it's really, yeah. Like, it doesn't feel as good. I mean, it's kind of funny when you think about it after, but the reason why you didn't trade it the first time, because you're like, it's fucking SeaWorld. Why would I ever buy that? That's fucking dumb. That's just stupid. There's no way you can. Some of you are like, there's no way you can convince me to go buy SeaWorld, dude. That's so stupid. And then it was like, and I had all those contracts. Okay, I can't say that, but yeah, I mean, we traded it, so whatever. I see some votes going on. Did you guys figure out how to do the vote? Oh, you did. Good job, guys. All right, whatever the vote is, I'm doing it. And again, it will be API'd soon. And keep it in the voting section, of course. You can do votes to vote on the overall vote, of course, in the voting section. And don't add everyone, please. I don't add everyone. You guys shouldn't add everyone. People want to fucking read something, they can read it. Don't spam chat either. People want to read it and they go look. Okay, looks like the 413Cs, 416s. Let me get it up. I have to actually open you guys' account. Fuck. Give me a sec. Let me open it up. That should be simple majority there. I gotta do you guys on the other computer. Yeah. Yep. All right. That's it. 413C, 416. Cool. Forward, of course, a big trade. See if you guys finally get a favorable trade, huh? Good luck. Good luck. Again, big opportunity here, right? Even though it's banned to move, not being worried about it. You got an obvious break. Wonder how many people are now going to go buy this. Let's see how fucked up the chain gets because people want to go buy it because the group did. It's dumb. How many can you guys buy? Fuck. Sorry, I didn't do the math. I have to do the math for your account, and I didn't even do the math on my own. Jesus Christ. Okay. Good luck. I'm going to get you as close to 40 contracts as possible. Okay, good luck, good luck, good luck. All right, what are we doing for lunch, boys? What are we doing for lunch? Big moves coming through. Right before lunch. Probably taking advantage of some spreads. It would be this breaking. So you're coming close to break even on the day for tech. Liquidity is here. I'm imagining you've ran out of liquidity now on, again, like I said this morning, you're going to reach this trend line just basically no matter what, right? When we talk about that idea, it's because again, it's very hard for this chart not to move because it's following an idea that has velocity all the time, and it doesn't take very much demand to move it because of the cap size and everything, right? So now you've basically came to a point where you've used up all that liquidity from any of this area, and now as you break that supply, it's a whole new sort of level through here. This is generating momentum in the entire broad market, right? What is this signaling? What did we signal last week? Here's the question. What did we signal last week? We signaled all-time high last week. And then the market decided to, of course, take a little bit of a turn because of no real macro influence. We didn't actually see it in the dollar volatility. So now what is this signaling? Well, it's signaling just what we've already fucking thought last week. If you put money in last week and held it, yeah, that would be silly. You don't hold through some of the pullback. But it doesn't change the fact that it's actually higher than it was last week. So there you go. Yep, TIVA fun. TIVA's always fun. What do we got? DraftKings, Chef, MA, all picks that we've mentioned quite a bit. EQT. EQT. Interesting through that 1869er is what it's at now. I put a lot of 69s on levels this week, if you didn't notice. For whatever reason, that's just what the market wants. Nice. It's true. It's actually true. Those of you wondering why I don't put it to like the flat 70 or something, because the 69 is apparently just the thing now. So it's it's retail that puts all their orders towards 69 or something. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with your forward position, guys. What's going on here? Bids are all over the place, but now there's people bidding. There's people up at 60 and shit. I don't think it really matters overall. Just get you guys in there. Who cares? Amazon wants to go up. Yeah, so again, these tickers, if the market as a whole... do I want to take this trade over anything else? No, I don't. I don't. This move, when we were looking at the CBAT earlier, I'm trying to figure out what exactly... where exactly. It's kind of a silly chart. You gotta wait for it to come back. Miss the points. Let's see. Disney X Expedia. Reads continue. Banks continue. Dirty Dan. Dirty Dan in the high. Retail stores. Planet Fitness. Retail stores. Again, that Planet Fitness one from over here was the important one to mention when we were talking about it. And it's very... the trend line comes in at about 105. Some of you are going, you got to be shitting me. This guy's actually looking at the trend line at 105 right now. You know what day it is? Yeah, it's about 18% away. Yeah. Yeah, Dish, I know Dish was mentioned earlier. Again, support, it's above the trend line. Is it above the trend line? Is the pattern, is the breakout still active? Yes. Yes. Could you buy it yesterday? No. Could you buy it right here? Probably not. You need to probably break this first. Get a little bit more confidence. Tomorrow looks a lot better unless it does make the break today. Sure. A little bit slower though, absolutely. Brian says he just got a membership there. Should be bullish. Okay. Planet Fitness all the way. I was going to post another Caesar chart last night. Basically the same thing. Didn't post it. We'll keep the same idea here. I was going to upgrade the target, but again, you have the trend line here, so who cares? You know where the trend line is. A couple times I've done that. All right, so again, EVs, everything. It's the levels above them, which is where anything changes. And again, on a chart like this, you get this neckline, which is really the most important, which if you go ahead and extend this, you get some convergence ideas. A little bit wide. You can be having a little, you can just call this whole clump right here, since it's about 1% or so, the converging area. The fun trying to get a trade. I think what happened with you guys here? You guys better hope those keep going up or else gonna have a problem. I think we just answered the question. You know, in the video I was talking about whether or not the algo gives priority to little bitch accounts. I think we just got an answer because you guys did not get a good fill at all. Should have done a normal limit order. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, boys. Now I see what you deal with on a daily basis. And you're like, well, I don't understand why you got filled at a higher price. I didn't even put a market order. 60. Fill was 60. I'll cover you guys' margin there. No worries. Not sure what that fill is, boys. Not fully 60, so you get some chances. One ask at 74 were Gucci. Let's go buy that one too. Push the price up, right? Should be fine. It's like $20. Who cares? That's me trying to push the price. I should have sold it to you guys. God damn it. Okay, I'm trying to still digest for lunch, not anything I eat. Again, I fast. I fast all day. I fast until about 6 p.m. Eastern. Then I start eating. Fast all day, keeps me hungry, fucking focused. You're gonna get probably a pullback lunch as normal. Feels normal because you're getting so many points right now. You're gonna get into the trend lines and get some sort of pullback lunch, I'd have to imagine. Like this. I mean, it could melt through. It depends how much money wants to actually screw around with the bond idea. How many bond traders how much do they want to transition from bonds and come put in the equity market? And again, we're getting the question towards how much flow are we getting from over here? 100% we got flows from there. So again, the question from this morning, obviously, I mean, I know it's fucking obvious, but if I didn't bring it up, you guys probably wouldn't fucking think about it. You got an outflow from this market and it inflowed to Europe and our market, right? It's an inflow. So, and there's money coming from treasuries into here because of a lot of different yields reasons. I mean, and we know specifically where it's going to. So how much more is the question? How much of an inflow have we gotten so far? And while still remembering yesterday I talked about what happened yesterday, even though it felt like quite the outflow, we actually almost on the day had a larger inflow in the market. We actually had a larger inflow in the market, especially towards the value side, right? Tech, of course, had a bit of an outflow, but in the equity market itself, we actually inflowed. And so it's really important to remember that the money that came in was more than the money that went out yesterday. So here today, how much more is there? If there's all-time high chance, you just have the liquidity from below all-time high. You've got trend lines here, which is liquidity. Supply, you got to work through that, right? I mean, it's quite the spot here. It's quite the spot here. Again, Visa, MasterCard moving quicker. These kind of things. Again, everything's pretty connected here. Everything's a lot more connected right now than it was about a week ago, right? When we were talking about having some connectivity issues. I mean, that was more like a month ago. We were really talking about it. 3 weeks ago, wherever that was, that we sold everything that week. That's when there was not a good connection. Right now, everything's very connected, and that's why we've been a little bit. We've been patient, but we've been pretty much buyers the whole way. KRC continues to look great. Again, REITs, these moves, there's about, I think I did the number, it's about 25 charts. It's about 25. I think there's a little bit less, but that, again, these REITs, the moves they made, you've got to be able to get a part of some of that. And it's very hard to go get it now later because these charts don't just stop their trend. They don't surprise you in the stop of a trend. It actually signals every time when it's turning and it's going to go into a new trend.
So the way the options trade on almost all these charts uh, is very much the same way. The strikes, you don't buy a certain level of strike because you know that the trend, the way the trend is going to work, right? So everything is very pretty much, it's simplified. It is simplified, which is a way of saying it's marginal, of course. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else to mention here. Everything's confirming. Definitely confirming. Again, FSR from this morning. I think some of you maybe got a part of that idea. It's a little bit more volatility and not straightforward. Brian says job reports tomorrow. Every Thursday. Every Thursday. It's a fun one, guys. This is a fun one. Oh, buddy. Again, I don't know how many times I can say it, but I know it stings, guys. I know it stings. I know it. I know it does. I know it does. Win? What do you do here? Not taking profit on that move, that's for sure. But these moves, guys, if you're not getting a part of it, there's just you got a blockage. You've just got a blockage. There's just something blocking you. And if your answer was because you don't think traveling's a good idea right now, no one's gonna make fun of you. But that's absurd. There are times when you don't do things for money because it's not a good thing. We all have a different limit for that sort of thing. What would you do for $1 million? We all have different answers. But in terms of trading, it's a little bit of a stretch to be like, you know what? I just don't believe in that cause. So I'm going to leave the money on the table. It's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm going to trade CCIV. I believe in Lucid Motors. I'm very happy with my investment. And I'm in it for the long term, okay? I don't care about the gains that I could make in this part for the next few months. I understand that I'm leaving gains on the table, but you guys don't understand. What you don't understand is that I'm going to be able to make so many more percent over here. I can see the future, baby. And I know that I'm going to make so many points over here that I can, you know what? I'm basically short the whole everything else in here because I know there's so many points over here. And I know that I'm doing good. I'm good. I'm a good person for doing this. You're fucking nuts, is what I say. You're out of your mind. Don't come to my party. You're not invited. RTX, yeah, good example of you get stopped out. You gotta keep fighting with it, right? You try to take each breakout. Absolutely, you take every single breakout. You take every single breakout, and I did it on this chart, which is why I was saying that I know you guys had a hard time on this one because it's leverage, so it's really messed up the benchmark the way it will open because it's trying to stay benchmarked, and then the market move didn't help, but you got to take every single break because you never know which break is going to be the move. You never know which one. All you know is that if it does break, it provides you with potential, and so it's worth the risk. There you go. And I know this is a sort of a favorite in terms of also the memers and everything else. But again, it's not because of it's a meme or anything else or because there's hype people, all price related. There's your potential. Is there any supply? There is a little bit through this area, but not resistance. This was actually a support. And again, when I talk, those of you that still are a little new on levels and everything, it's important to realize for support and resistance that yes, what we look for in a support and resistance is the most wick touches as possible, as well as trend lines. So you see all these wicks in here that are touching this level right now where price is. Yeah, this is a bit of a level in here because of price convergence. There's a lot of wick touches, which is price reaching a price point and making a move because of it. There's a lot of buyers or sellers there. If price is below the level, that's a lot of sellers. If it's above, it's a lot of buyers. But there's also the point where it depends which side the wick's going on. So see these red wicks here? That's price pulling into support here. And so there's buyers there. But if you actually look, there's a lot more wicks that are going downwards, so it's a low wick. There's a lot more low wicks than high wicks, which means it's actually a stronger support than it is resistance. And there's a lot of examples of this where, let's say there's 10 wicks that touch a line, but 7 of them are low wicks, 3 of them are high wicks. That would be more a support than a resistance. And if there's another line where there's, like, let's say only 6 wick touches, but 5 of them are a low wick, or a high wick, a high wick, then that would be a stronger resistance comparatively to the other. So I do weighting where I say, okay, there's actually a lot more resistance in here. Yes, it's support now that it's on top of it, but is this line here a resistance or support? This is a true resistance level. Yeah, there's some times when price bounced on it as support, and of course, if price is on top of it, it becomes support, so we can change this color green now because it's support, but it's actually a much stronger resistance because of the amount of high wicks that went into it, right? It held price. It held price as resistance. So it's important to see those differences, and that's where, again, we traded on the breakout and it turns the level over. Something to keep in mind. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so banks have just continued trending, and again, if you miss the move, then feel shitty and pissed, of course, along with energy. ISBC is one of those smaller examples where you've got a little bit of a different velocity and trend that we can track coming through the trend line here. Let me just turn this off so we can see it. Okay, there it is in the trend line. Again, you can see rejection, boom, through. Now you're within the channel. Price wants to trade on that channel, right? Continue that trend. And you've had gaps into the other levels. Important to see the gap opportunities that come because you've got the level up here. And it's why we always look for, okay, where's the resistance? Okay, that's at 1425 or so. It's always important to be mindful of where those are because it'll really start to bring in those, okay, what's the potential? Risk reward? Well, I got quite the reward. What's my risk? Well, I got a support right underneath me, baby. Put my stop on it, I'm good. So let's see, Ford, you guys bought it the best time possible, of course. Good job, guys. Didn't buy it open, didn't buy on the trend break at the first moment, bought over here. You bought when it gets flat, which I can see is tightening for sure. I see what you mean. If you told me 2 seconds earlier, you wouldn't have got a bad fill. Tough one, guys. Tough one. Where do you want your stop? Or do you guys want to just hold it and say fuck it? You want to stop, or do you want to just say fuck it? It's gonna bounce and it'll keep going. I'm not worried about it. Or do you guys want to put the stop, or do you want to say nope, it's lunch? I don't care. Not watching. You guys let me know. Because it's below break even, so smack. Got a lot of turning though in the market, right? This is what we're looking for: is what happens on a lunch pullback today, and what does it mean? Is it the volume just dropping, and so we're losing some demand? Is there more supply coming in? These are questions that we need to know for close because we want to know what's happening through the end of the week. In terms of value that's going, but in terms of this, is this just reacting because of the rest of the market? Right? Tech is probably just getting some points because the rest of the market's up, right? So just overall, you're buying into everything. Is this going to come down tomorrow? right? And these kind of questions matter. It's like, well, we know this is rotation. A lot of this is rotating into some of the value picks. Does this come down tomorrow? The rest of the market can be up, but what about this? And then does that drag down the rest of the market? So again, you don't have full. You're not even inside your channel. You don't have full confidence out here, and you're gonna consolidate this move, or you're just gonna pivot it, right? Well, this here signaled. This is 2.5% on the Nasdaq. That signaled a break of this downtrend. Did this signal a break of this downtrend like this one did? This one, you get downtrend, clear break here. Clear break. You broke through a trend line. You cleared, you fucking did 1% over the high of the day before. What about over here? Did you do that? You haven't done that really, right? So again, you're still under the trend line. So you need to see by close some of these ideas. Otherwise, down here, yep, it's basically a candle that's signaling a new trend. But how quickly? How quickly? This week? Next week? Going to flatten out over here? Does it want to come into this level that's converging? That's a big difference. That's a big difference through here. Six trading days. That's March 4th. Big difference there. Yeah, Roku, again, Roku we talked about yesterday. Roku is certainly, as we always talk about, is the trade. That tightening there, and we talked about all these times before we were buying on a trend line support, and it makes the trade so easy. Over here, we want to buy on a pullback as well. What do we need? We need to create a level. We need to create a level. How do we do that? Well, it's tightening. That's exactly what you wanted. You got an inside bar here, and it's tightening, and it's looking to make a new move this way. Right now, is it a good buy? Well, it's hard to buy it today, but it does set up a day for tomorrow when open that you can go be a buyer if it's bid. Maybe even at close, it will signal something that you can preempt it. Again, one of those preemptive trades. What's the risk reward of putting the trade on here at close if the level's right here, if the price is right here? It's up 69 basis points today. Nice. These are the kind of trades that if you can go take this and trade it back into here, you're going to make 100% than the guy that takes it, when it starts to move up into this area. You're just going to make more. And you're going to have a better chance of managing it when it gets here. Because taking profit here is a likelihood as it tries to break back through. And it may not even do that because it's probably what happens on the Roku chart. We've been copying the same line for a year. We've been copying the same lines for a year. You just bring it back over. Okay, we transpose supply. Got a new trend? No problem. It's going to trade on this trend on. It's going to trade resistance support. Right? Cars, again, all this weird sector. It needs to break through here, but it's certainly got the trend line support. This trend line breaks. See ya. And it does do this a lot. Does do this a lot, right? We've traded it the same way every single time. It does this a lot. Trend line, break. I think we have enough drawings still to put through. Break, break, break. Now, what about on the sell side? What are some charts that we can take advantage of? What's going on with the spot chart over here, right? This is a nightmare over here. We had this day, 12% from high to low. The market day, how do we remove this candle from our understanding since it's so market heavy, right? How do we now look at this day and there's so many difficult questions that it's just hard to go make a trade here until it comes back into the levels that we understand. It's just there's too much here. There's just too many different factors that we don't have an answer for, and the spread is already wild. So you need to be trading it when it's going one way. Otherwise, you're just fucking gambling, right? That's a tough one. Zoom. We talked so much about Zoom on the breakout, and then what happened? It converged with tech. It started converging with the megas and getting that convergence to the downside with the Nasdaq, right? What about over here? What happens over here? Some of these, when we start to ask these questions, it's like, well, is it the same trade? Can we take the same trade? Is it going to trade on its own velocity this time, or is it going to get cucked by the Nasdaq again? And is it possible to take the trade if it has its own velocity and a breakout here like it did here, and then time it so that we can get out of it before the Nasdaq hurts? Yeah, you should have sold at the trend line here. So I would say risk reward, it's still worthwhile to take that trade. Risk reward, you're above your breakout. You've got a clear continuation idea, and there's a lot of points and no resistance, by the way, until up here. It's just win, not winning, win. You need a candle that shows a bid, and it will show itself. You can go look at that intraday. You let me know if you can tell the difference between this candle and the rest of them, right? Was today the day? Does it look like it? If that candle starts to come here right now, you'll know. It's relative, right? It's relative to the amount of average right now. It is usually 50-50 between buyers and sellers. It's 50-50, with it skewed a little bit to the buy side if it's going up and a little to the sell side. When the ratio really changes, it shows itself, right? Really makes itself clear. Out dancing on trend line and pulled the chart up a few times now. Just keeps trading on that trend line. In terms of timing on this, again, it's so breakout oriented. It's tightening. Again, you're buying on support on a bid when it comes bid from the open. You should be able to tell, especially from today, since it's flat today. If it's tomorrow or what. Yellow Y. I wasn't gonna post this chart because there isn't one, but it's certainly getting ready for a new idea. Obviously, you guys all see it, but when it's hard to say. I'm not gonna draw. There's no pattern really here. You could try to continuation wedge it. There is ideas, right? Just like I posted a ton of wedges last night, of course, but it's not the greatest to go say this because it just doesn't line up correctly. Then you're starting to make shit up, and you're saying, well, yeah, no, what? That's fine. Let me just make this line fit perfectly where it is here, and then oh yeah, no problem here. That's perfect. Yeah, no problem. I want to buy this, so let me just draw some lines that will let me buy this and convince myself. Perfect. Look at the dagger in here. Perfect. This is bullish as heck. This is the most bullish chart I've ever seen. Thing broke out in the first third. That guy always says it needs to break out at the halfway point of the second third of the chart. This one broke out in the first inning. This is a dagger. Yeah, you could make the case for this, and that's what I was gonna do, but you're gonna need some confirmation through here, right? Yeah, I want to go trade this. I do want to go trade this, and you get an easy trend. You get a very easy trend in here, right? This is a very easy trend in here, and this is really pissing me off that I have to click all these dumb things here, that I can't just do this. But you have a very easy trend in here to see, whether you want to use from all the way back in here. Maybe we should, just to keep consistent. And you throw it in here. Again, I would use this one, but just to show you, even on a macro sense, that if you started the trend from back there, it's very clear, right? It's very clear. There's a lot of charts. Again, it wouldn't be exactly like this. I wouldn't exactly post it like this because, again, I think this is not a trend. This would not be a trend. And so there's times when something's too sharp to be a trend, but it's still true. It's still fucking true. So I just wouldn't specifically the target here would be just out of its mind in terms of volatility, and too much volatility means not tradable, right? But we'll be a part of that trade again. We will be a part of that trade again. Okay. 12 o'clock or so, lunchtime. Again, this is going to be sitting at that level. You get the melt of lunch as it's if it removes the supply, we're going to get a very good understanding of liquidity here during lunch. If it melts through, then that means we've used up all the liquidity that was there. So if we melt through these trend lines at lunch, then it's going to be all-time high because we used up all the liquidity that there is in the market. So spreads are going to get wider. It's going to go towards the upside with a lot of demand. So Ecto says, hey, is this price movement retail? And he shows us this fucking picture of, I can't even see it on my monitor in full screen. So I get, yeah. Somebody just tell him some random answer. Hopefully he doesn't hear me. I heard you, I'm hurt. That's like, you guys remember when we had people putting screenshots from their fucking phone? I mean, what in the hell was that? Hey guys, look at this chart on their screenshotting a vertical phone screen. They didn't even go horizontal mode. They went vertical and would show the chart. And even on the right side, it's got like all the bid and ask. It's like a table on the right side of the screen. So there's like maybe 1 inch of screen space to see the chart. I think you do that, McKees, right? Like, I look at it for 1 second. I see in the corner of my eye, don't even look any further. It's like, you really want us to look at that? You gotta be out of your mind. It's gotta be a meme. At that point, it's gotta be a meme. I don't trust you guys. You guys are not serious enough half the time. It's like poor Phibbs last night. I thought he was memeing when he said, no, I haven't bought travel because I wouldn't travel myself. I was like, it's gotta be a meme, right? You guys would, because we joke so much about fundamentals being ridiculous. Like, oh, why didn't you buy CCL, the death boat? Well, because, I really don't think I could go on a cruise right now, and I don't think other people are going on cruises either. Like, no shit, Sherlock. No one's gone on a cruise for a fucking year. What are you talking about? Obviously. Not a reason not to buy it. This open chart, and it's really this trend line. This trend line, and then I've got confidence. You've got enough room in between these two levels here, but a very weird timing, very strange timing. And I think what you wanted, it's hard to say. You got to remove this. You've got to remove this candle here. You have to remove it because it's from the market. This candle opened right on support, bounced right on support. I think you remove this candle and this chart looks a lot better, as it really does. And so, yes, it came back into the consolidation, but if it broke out here today, then it's not, it's pretty close to the apex here and it came back in, but it feels okay, right? And you could get a trend line in here. That trend line converges with this one. I think you've got a lot of signs in there. And not a lot of ways to get hurt is what I'm saying. If you wait for that trend line, it's very hard to get hurt over there taking that trade. Look at this right here. This is what I'm talking about. It's very hard to get hurt on this trade if you just wait. Let's look what it looks like on the 15. That doesn't help. Fucking intraday charts on TradingView. God damn it. Anyway, it's right there on the trend. If we see this move go through both at the same time, if we see an intraday candle that moves through both of them at the same time, then you gotta, that's your moment. Otherwise, you're using up all that liquidity, and the demand is just, it's not gonna. People are gonna trade it before you get the chance, which is kind of what happened when you guys entered that trade before. Everyone already jacked the price. Yeah, it started to turn, but the turn doesn't hurt them; it hurts you. So. Ford, you guys are doing fine. You guys are doing fine. You just break even. I gotta get that thing API'd. I need someone else to do it though. I don't have the time. WKHS support. True. True. That's what I was laughing about when I showed you guys this yesterday. True. So fucking support right in here. That's a buy if I've ever seen one.
And those of you that don't know that we meme a lot in here, I am memeing. 15 is support. I mean, this is like the EH chart. You could buy this and you won't lose money if you day trade it. But is it fucking worth your time to go tell your cousin Greg that you bought WKXS at $15 today? Is it really worth it? Do you really need that pair of roller skates that you're going to use once? No. It's going to be funny for one day. It's going to be funny and you're going to forget about it. There's no point in being cool trading. Novel and I'm trading something cool. I'm so fucking cool. I trade all the dumb tickers. Look at me and I make it work. I must be good at trading. Mom. There's nothing cool about it. What's cool is being consistent. Yay, boys. Yay. Really getting good confirmation today. Very good confirmation. You know, when you start to think about some of these ideas, if it takes too long, right? The longer it takes, that there is for this idea. Of course, since this chart's bullish, the sideways trading is great for the upside. We talk about that a lot. Sideways trading can be very good for the upside. But then there's times if it's a chart that hasn't been moving, it's not bullish overall, sideways trading could mean that since it's taking too long, it's not going to make as big of a move. This was obviously always, there wasn't a point yet that we were saying, oh, this is not going to be good. No, we were ready for the break, but great confirmation here today. In terms of what can happen tomorrow, you don't care about what happens tomorrow even if it came down here. You care about where this is going to be in a week or two, or even just it happens immediately since we've been pricing so quickly. What I was talking about is like this EH move over here. Remember when it came down here and I was like, all right, let's just fucking buy this right here. I mean, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible, but it's not ridiculous. You're buying fucking shares. You're buying, who cares? Buying shares. Make a few points. You got nothing else to do instead of picking your nose and sitting here listening to me talk. Go have some fun. Just make a trade. Make a trade. You guys are too fucking serious. And then some of you joke too much. Tesla flag on 10 minutes. Okay. Let's go take a look at what JJR sees. Oh, perfect flag there. Great stuff. Otherwise known as price trending towards the upside, breaking out and then tightening, looking to make a move one way or the other. Could be a move this way or this way. Who wants to make a bet? This way or this way? Up or down? U or D? If you know the answer, go bet. Go make the trade if you know which way. Before it's made a move. Cars, we got the move. Yep, there it is there. We drew the trend line. It was down here. We had that little hanging graver. Very good move here today. Good confirmation to get the move out of the way. That does signal to us that, again, what I talked about this morning, when you get a long-term sort of pattern like this is what institutions would look at for. They don't look at the smaller, shorter term sort of things, right? Because they're so macro oriented, they need something for like a fucking year. Capital gains out of their mind, not less than a year. So the fact that you got this move here today in relation with this trend, really important to see that and confirm this immediately, that there is buying because of a chart idea, not just because of some, idea of a year from now. So I'm glad to see that, because I have had a lot of hesitancy I've been hesitant to post some of the long-term ideas like weekly charts and things like that, but this is good confirmation. Makes me feel a little bit better to come up with those ideas a little bit more. Otherwise, I feel like I'm wasting time. It is a waste of time a lot of times to be looking this far. To be taking some of this into consideration this far, it is a waste of time. That's why I tell you guys, don't waste your time trying to find charts. You guys are here,
use the charts, try to execute them, and spend that time trying to do something else. And before we go to break now, I'm gonna talk a little bit about what I post. Again, we're gonna go on break right now. I'm not gonna look at any other charts. Don't ask me questions. You can ask me questions about what I'm about to talk about. I posted in my channel before charts from last night, before the 23 charts. I posted about Nattenberg and sort of some of the ideas about how to get you all, or those more novice traders and people that want to learn into sort of the game a little bit more and sort of up your level. So those of you that don't know, Sheldon Nattenberg wrote this book called Options, Volatility, and Pricing, which is basically the Bible behind options. And if you work at an institution and you're going to be a trader, especially anything to do with derivatives, right? You're going to have to read that book for your training. That's just the reality. Everyone has to do it. Everyone has to do it. There is no way around it. Even if you're just, not back office, but basically anything that has to do with the floor, you will have to read that book and learn it. You have to fucking learn it. And so what that book really is it's all the theory behind options, all the theory behind the Greeks, the pricing, how volatility works. And it's very theory-based, not very good examples. It's hard to get through. It's graduate level math. And it's fucking hard. Like it is, you have to study it. You have to actually study it like a real textbook. And so obviously when I came into this, I wanted to, I've got a lot of ideas for research in terms of studying the way in which people are able to improve and everything. And so my idea was that, well, it worked for me to go read that book, and now I have a better understanding of the math. But I'm a math-oriented kind of person, and I had the time because it was my job and I was getting paid to learn that book. To tell you guys to go read Nattenberg is like me trying to go learn rocket science because I like rockets. There isn't like a real way for me to go study that in 2 weeks and then apply it, because I'm not going to build a fucking rocket. Like these kind of things, it's very similar in the same sense that trying to learn that math and then commit it and actually be able to utilize it are like there's so many different layers to that going to tell you guys to go read that. Most of you got that book and read it for like 10 minutes and said, okay, this is just not for me. I'm just not ever going to get through this fucking book. I don't even understand the theory, and there's not good examples because there's not. There isn't real way to exemplify some of the things. It's just you learn the math. That's it. You learn the theory. Some of you that have been, some of you that were more science-based math majors and went to grad school for a lot of this stuff, obviously were able to pick it up a little bit more, but even you don't have the time to study that book. You've got other things to do, and then a lot of times you're trying to focus and not find charts, but plan for the day, and that might already take up an hour or two, right? And so some of you that don't even do an hour of studying a night for this, of course you're never going to make money. You get lucky every now and then, and you try to keep things real simple if you don't have much time. But to get more complex, you want to get serious, well then now that's a whole nother level of complexity. So to tell you guys to go read Nattenberg, I thought it sounded good at first. And, now we're at a point where I've just realized that it's so much easier for everyone, and more, it's going to make you a better trader to not spend your time trying to understand that, unless it will make you a better trader if you do get through that book and learn some of the ideas in there. Absolutely. But it's trying to make something that's complex more complex. Because to understand something complex, you either need to simplify it and solve smaller problems, which is what we do here, which is such an important idea to understand that. Look at this chart. We take something complex. There's a lot of ideas in here. There's so many different ideas in here. And what we did was simplify it down to some fucking colored lines on the chart. And all you had to do was, when you looked at this chart, you knew that if it broke this little red line here, that you'd be a buyer. That's all you needed to know. That's a simplification that you're not going to get by trying to make this complex idea more complex with Nattenberg. You know to buy fucking calls. And you know not to buy too out of the money calls and not too short term based on what you want to do. That's just a simplification that makes it easy, right? Trying to use Nattenberg and understand the full pricing of an option. Do you need to know the full price of an option to buy an option? No. Does it help? Yes. Are you going to get better margins? Yes. But does it help your baseline in your practice of making you able to take the trade and hit that buy button? No. The complexity will probably stop you from buying it because you realize, shit, this is way over my head. By keeping it, you need to get a baseline, which is only going to come from you hitting that fucking buy button 100 times. You guys are not going to get better unless you actually go do it. You got to go trade it. Reading that book is not going to make you a trader. It's the experience of hitting that buy button and feeling that trade, feeling what it feels like to be in the trade up here and see that you got it right. And to be able to continue to push it and manage it or how to transition trades. You don't learn to transition trade from Nattenberg.
Market data connection.
Yeah, you understand how the pricing works and how that timing works, but that does not build your baseline understanding of being able to execute that trade in that moment because of the fucking book. And a lot of times that does happen. It's not to say that reading that book again won't make that a better trade. It will, but it's going to take you years, probably with your time, to actually utilize that book where it's not hurting you. It probably hurts you more. So from everything I've done so far and from the way I've seen a lot of you guys grow as traders, what's really benefited you the most is when you've seen an obvious idea and you execute it because it's simple. It's not simple. It is hard and complex, but because you simplified it down and you had a yes or no trade, that yes or no trade idea of, oh, did we break resistance? Is it support now? Did it bounce? Oh, I can buy it, and I don't need to know specifically what to buy. I can be a little wrong, but I know I'm not buying something shit, and you buy it, and then you know, okay, oh, it's reversing a little bit. These like very stupid, simple ideas, they might seem stupid if you do know all of Nattenberg, but it's the reality that for all of you, you want to actually make money out of it, this is the way to do it. And it's pretty, it's an important thing to understand that what you guys are doing for most of your trades here and you're trading with this method is that, the hardest thing to do is to simplify a problem and to make the problem a more simple problem to solve. It's very hard to do that. And so by doing so, your efficiency is really out of the roof if you just follow the rules there, right? It's when you start to stray from that and you try to implement something more complex or difficult, you really start to fuck with it. But those of you that want to learn Nattenberg, I would say it's not worth your time if you can't really commit the entire time to learn it, which is like, do you guys have time to go back to school? Do some of you have time to go to grad school? Do you have time to go do a PhD, these type of things? If the answer is no, then don't go try to learn that book. Make fucking trades. Just make a trade. Go buy something and put a stop. Just make the trade and don't trade an account that's going to be too big for you, that's going to hurt you, right? And just go make as many trades as possible and learn from it and take notes and be here and learn. And otherwise, you don't need to be trying to do those hard things because it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen from what I've seen so far. So keep that idea in mind. Keep that in mind. But yeah, that's the spiel. Let's take a break for lunch. Let's see. Got Mobsky saying, I'm having a great day, so a violent lunch pullback is imminent. Let's keep that in mind. Certainly, the way everyone feels is a dictator of what everyone else in the market might feel. But otherwise, guys, it's been a great day so far. If you're not having a great day so far, then you probably weren't prepared, and just realize why. If you have a hard time, learn from it. You didn't make money today? Don't worry about it. Learn something. You'll have more chances. Guess what? The market's pulled back 50 fucking times in the last two months. Over here, pull back, pull back, pull back. We've been able to buy all of them. Since the last year, pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back. Don't worry about it. You're always going to have another chance. Learn today, make money tomorrow. I'll see you guys in the evening, or the afternoon, probably 3:45 again. Might be some alerts there, so I'll be here a little early. Enjoy your lunch, drink some water, get some exercise, do something with your life. I'll see you then. Europeans, have a great evening. I'll see you in the morning. Watch out for charts again, and enjoy, guys.